Yeah, I know. I was gonna do. You know, I was gonna.
Intro's me going ribbit.
I was gonna do it while you were on mute, but I didn't. So I'm gonna do it now.
Alright, fair enough.
All right. Hey up, everyone, and welcome to the Chin-Waggin podcast, the first ever Chin-Waggin podcast with myself, Jay or Geordie, and Ed, my good friend that's on the other side of the screen over there. Oh, hang on, I pointed the wrong way. Over there. So yeah, this is the first one. We're gonna be here weekly, hopefully, talking about all things. Everything and nothing is what I've sort of been saying to people.
Well, that's what I put in the channel description. Everything, nothing, and a little bit of in between.
Exactly, yeah. So, I mean, there is going to be some things that obviously weekly that will take priority if there's something big that's happened during the week or whatever. We will discuss that. And we do plan on getting guests on, a range of different guests, really, from all different sorts of backgrounds, whether it just be sort of a real life person, you know what I mean, or whether it be someone who's like, we've got people who've got ties in professional football. I won't say too much about it. And Pokemon is something that we're gonna touch on here and there because it is a hobby of mine.
It's how we met.
It is how we met. Yeah, that's a nice segue. We should go straight into how me and you know each other. What was first point of contact? Was it because of the Shining Fate TTB?
Ooh.
I think it was.
Was it Shining Fate? I feel like I spoke to you before that, though.
We must have done.
I'm not going to scroll up all the messages.
No. we must have spoke prior. Definitely, we must have spoke in the chat. When we say the chat, we're referring to Randolph. If you don't know who he is, get to know. We're in his Discord for his sort of YouTube members and Twitch subscribers.
Yeah, talking about it's just Pokemon, really.
I mean, yeah, we say it's a Pokemon chat, but there's a lot of waffle goes on in there.
And food, a lot of food.
A lot of food, yeah. But yeah, that's how we met. I think the first real sort of like just me talking to you was when I said that there was Shining Fate CTVs in Barrow.
Yeah, you gave me a secret location where they're available at retail.
I did, yeah.
And you know what, mate? I'm looking at the one. Oh no, it's Champion's Path now.
Nah.
No, I didn't. I don't know which one I got. But I definitely got some, and I got a few good cards. The main card I wanted that was a full art shiny Rillaboom, which I got. So I was happy.
I also got one of them. Which is nice. I think I got a full art V. They got a Rillaboom V. I don't think I got a V Max actually.
Yeah.
That's the one I dragged across the desk.
Yeah. That you're. I'll tell you what. Sorry, I'm getting distracted by my thing selling on eBay. It's gone up to 185.
Hey. Beers on Crispo tonight. And again, sorry, yeah, I need to tell the audience, if I refer to Crispo, that's Ed. That's not someone random.
It's incredibly creative. My last name is Crisp, and we put an O on the end.
That's it. That's how creative we get on the Chin-Waggin podcast.
So, how's your week been? What have you been up to apart from planning the podcast a lot?
What have I been up to? Oh, I was decorating my room, wasn't I? I've been doing that quite a lot this week.
I don't believe it is the same room because I swear there was a staircase.
Yeah, there is. There is a staircase. It's just over there now. Like, so right, okay. We've gone full reverse.
I saw it and I was like, is he put a wall up?
No, yeah, I've got the desk facing against the where the banister was now, so it's looking back because what was on the back was just like I'd stripped the wallpaper on it. It just looked hanging. But now, to be
fair, you've done a proper good job of it. Like,
yeah, it looks alright, doesn't it?
Actually, looks like a studio.
Yeah, well, that's the plan, mate.
Meanwhile, I was in a studio originally planned for this, and now I'm recording out of my old bedroom at my parents' house.
It's alright, mate. You just make it into a studio.
Yeah,
Um,
no, to be fair, I think soundproofing is going to be one. Maybe a lick of paint, which isn't bad because my sister is still living here and she's a painter decorator.
oh,
So
really? She'll have
I
done a
can.
better job than I did then.
She's just gonna. I'm gonna get her to do it.
Fair enough, mate. Fair enough.
Just paint it black.
But yeah, aside from that, this week I don't know what I've done. I saw. I'm still on furlough, man. So days are blending. Been playing a little bit of GTA Online. I saw my dad and my nana and granddad as well. That was nice. But
Yeah.
aside from that,
How
no,
how
not a
how
lot.
do you feel? How do you feel about like going to see them now? I'll assume that like they've had the vaccinations. Does it still feel a bit weird?
I feel like they find it more weird than me in a way,
Yeah.
just because like it is a bit weird at first, but I'm nowhere near as at risk, and
Yeah.
like they sort of I don't know, they've been very careful. Like they were in the group of people that had to like fully shield, you know what I mean, for like
Yeah.
3 months or whatever. So I feel like they're more tentative than I am, sort of thing. But it is nice to see them. Like the thing
Yeah.
is, when like they aside from seeing us guys, which is I'd say the biggest hitter, sort of us going around there and just being able to go inside, whatever. Um, they'll like go down the street and that go to the shop, but they don't do that too much. Like that, it's the activities and stuff with us. I feel like that's what's missing. But
Yeah. I get. It's kind of weird now. It's like I still feel weird about seeing my grandparents who again were like they were asked to shield, and
mhm.
like now like I know they're not meant to, but they do just come in to the
Yeah,
house or will go around, and like sometimes it genuinely depends on the mood because sometimes me Nana will just be like, put your mask on, like
yeah,
don't sit down, and another time she walks into our house and asks for a cup of tea, you know.
yeah. No, I know what you mean.
it, were you quite um were you good at following the rules, or like if you're being honest,
Yeah,
or
no, yeah. I would say, to be honest, out of I don't have to name them. Out of a lot of my friends, I was probably one of the more sensible. Well, I mean, you could say it's sensible. I mean, I can't be asked going into whether it was right or whether it was wrong. But you know what I mean.
yeah,
It was what it was, and still currently is what it is, I guess. But yeah, I think I was quite good at following the rules. I think it was to do with my job, like working in a bar. I sort of had to enforce those rules on the customers. Well, not like and just ensure that they were following them at all times. So for me to go out and break them, just a bit,
yeah,
just a bit of a, I don't know, it'd just be a bit hypocritical of me. You know what I mean? Um,
definitely,
Also with the fact, so my sister, my girlfriend's sister's been pregnant, sort of during lockdown, and she's not really been able to go and see her because of that. So for me to then go out and go to one of my mates' house just because I wanted to sit around my mates and watch football and have a beer,
yeah,
I think it'd just be a bit unfair. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Like because she doesn't have that option. Like there's nothing more that she. If I was to say I'm going to my mate, she'd be like I'm going to see my sister, and that's like our dynamic. That's how it rolls. But she couldn't do that. So for me to then sort of take advantage of that, and even though it was breaking the rules to go and do it, would just be a bit nasty. Well, not nasty, but you know what I mean. Unfair.
yeah. No, I get where you're coming from. It's trying to treat others
Yeah, exactly.
with respect as well.
But then
Uh,
on the complete other hand, I would say that was tempted because I go to work and I see 150 people in the bar that I'm in not following guidelines. So I think, what does me like?
yeah,
What I'm not going to make a difference. You know what I mean? I'm going to be sober probably and stay 2 meters away from him or whatever. But yeah. What about yourself? How have you been feeling about
I I started off.
it?
How this is gonna go. I started off really well. Like, so we went into lockdown. What, like end of March?
Yeah, something like
And,
that. Yeah,
and I like it was weird because like so me and Paige had dropped out. So Paige is my girlfriend.
yeah,
Is
yeah, yeah, yeah.
we dropped out of uni in January. Uh, completely independent decisions. It wasn't like for each other. We were at different unis, but
Yeah.
it wasn't, both our courses weren't right for us. And so we're just getting into the swing of things. I started working in a cafe. She started working at a nursery literally the week it all happened. And obviously we couldn't go to work. She couldn't get furloughed because she'd only started working that week. And
Right.
we were
Yeah.
really good. Like we were like, we can't see each other. And it was really crap because it was like a lot. I felt quite ashamed telling people I dropped out of uni.
No, mate, you're telling the right person, because I dropped out as well after about 3 months for for the same reasons. The fact that I didn't like the course, it just wasn't right for me, and to be honest, I wasn't ready to go. It was probably a big thing as well.
Yeah, and so it's like a lot of people didn't know, and obviously you couldn't see anyone anyway. And so it's just with my family, and I don't know, because like I went from having the freedoms of being at uni, which I loved, like living on my own, doing my own stuff, looking after myself. That was fine. I loved
Yeah.
that. To then half of that where I could still do all that, I guess, but I'm at home. To then I'm at home and that's it. There's no work. There's no, I can't see Paige. Um, the most sort of like key point for me was it was my birthday mid-April,
Yeah.
my 20th birthday, and me seeing Paige on that day wasn't. We didn't break any rules or anything. We went to Morrison's car park. I stood at one side of the parking bay. She stood at the other. Put the present in the middle, and we just chatted for ages. And
Oh,
it's
that's
just,
nice though.
it's just really sad, really. Like I
No,
don't know.
yeah, but I mean, it's sad. But is it though? Like, it's sad.
Yeah,
What would have been
but
sadder would be not seeing each other. I guess.
yeah,
You know
no,
what I
yeah.
mean? Um.
And but it's like, and then I don't know. What happened? And then things opened up again. I think after they opened up the first time, we started getting a bit more lax with it. If I'm being honest, like her
Yeah.
parents weren't too fussed if I went round
Yeah.
to theirs, and I did, to be honest, because like I didn't have anything else on. It was like sitting inside playing Xbox all day was driving me insane.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, just eventually, like it was just getting to the point like we used to see each other so much in that time because we went obviously from barely seeing each other at uni, building it up more. Then they dropped again. Then we're like, okay, restrictions are dropping. See each other as much as we can.
Yeah.
We got a bit of a reliance on each other, and then it got there's different lockdowns and all that, and we got to um, New Year's Eve, and there was new restrictions coming in.
Yeah.
And it was literally a 2-hour decision of should I move into her house with her parents,
Yeah.
and that's what we did. And so New Year's Eve was spent there, and I haven't. Well, I mean, I'm at my parents now, so it's
Yeah.
still following the rules to the letter. But they've had their jabs. Anyone vulnerable in my house has had their jabs. Um,
Well, that's all right then.
it's different. It's a complete change of everything.
Yeah. Exactly. Exactly. I mean, I think I similar in a sense that I was living in Liverpool at the time when it was all sort of coming to a like original lockdown back in like March 2020 when it was all sort of blowing up. And I remember like I was working at a big bar in Liverpool, and yeah, there was a game, a Champions League match for Atletico Madrid, who had just been the city of Madrid just been put into lockdown,
Yeah,
and we had thousands of their fans over, and I was serving Spanish people, and obviously they were here for the game, coming from a city that had just been put on lockdown, and I was like, what? I can't help but serve them. It's my job. I need to make money, especially with all the stuff that's going on in the news. Like, furlough hadn't been announced at this point. Like, no one knew what was going on. And then eventually, sort of independently, the bar that I was working at decided to shut the doors until we knew what was going on. And they were sort of falling like dominoes, the bars in Liverpool, just saying like, look, we don't feel that we can operate safely, so we're going to have to close. And then it was that Friday that we got announced into lockdown. But I think it was like the Wednesday, I was off work, obviously, because work wasn't open. My girlfriend was off work because she was working at a care company, and it's a different story, but she was off work with stress because they were not treating her very well. We just went on this walk down by sort of a beach near Liverpool. I can't remember the name of it. And yeah, just made the decision to sort of both come home so that day. So we went home, back to the flat, made some phone calls, rented a van for the next day, and then on the Thursday we moved back home, I think it was. And then, well, I can't remember the date specifically, but then yeah, literally, so we moved back home. 24 hours later, we got announced that we were going into lockdown. So that was it was a big move, but definitely the right move. Like back here, this is where I'm from. I've got my best mate that lives next door, so like even just seeing him over the wall, you know what I mean? Like having that form of social interaction with a friend was tiny, but so much more than everybody else had really.
Yeah.
Just because I could literally like text him and be like, "I'll go out back," and we can just talk over the wall like we are now. And yeah, that was good. And obviously, this is like a big 3-story end terrace house, and I was in a bungalow flat in Liverpool on the ground floor. So I was like, yeah, it was definitely the right move.
Yeah, it's
been a crazy year though, man. It's been a crazy year.
I think adjusting into normality again is going to be quite difficult because people have forgotten how to speak to other people. And, like in a professional way, not really, but like I feel I don't know. I've not actually been to the pub yet, really, apart from. No, I went to the pub yesterday with my best mate, and that was it. But like just talking about stuff, it's like what do we talk about? It's like lockdown.
Well, I can't honestly, mate. That's the thing.
Even now, like we had a plan for talking about stuff, and like straight away it's come to lockdown.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
yeah. But that's the thing that's affected everyone most over the past year, isn't it? A lot of people, I guess, relate to it. But yeah, I don't know about coming out, mate. It's weird. Obviously, I'm glad it's happening. Like, but in terms of going to the pub, mate, I can't stomach a drink anymore. I wasn't one of these people who like spent my lockdown just drinking. I can't drink now.
I stopped drinking more. Like I don't drink. I'm not gonna say like categorically say I do not drink.
Yeah.
But like it feel like I don't feel right with it anymore. Like Christmas, I spent at Pages. My mum obviously wanted to see what I was like when I was drunk.
Yeah, understandable.
And I didn't see the measurement, but I tell you right now, she did me like a vodka and lemonade or something, and it was probably that much. There was a pint glass.
Oh yeah, man. That's how I have mine. That is how I have my vodkas. To be fair, I get a big glass. I feel it like quite chunky, and then I just sip it. Like,
I tell you what, I was ratted. I was sat there eating my Christmas dinner. And since then, I've had one drink, and that was when. No, I've been to the pub twice. I went with my granddad, because he's been isolated and he's found it really hard.
Yeah.
Because he's quite social, and having that all taken away from him, being trapped inside with me nana, is probably driven him up the wall. And so me and my brother took him out for a pint and something to eat.
Yeah.
I had a cider, and I was a bit like, gee.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it? It knocks you. But like I say, I am excited. For normality to sort of resume.
Like when everything's completely open, let's say, is it June or whatever? Like let's say like if I was to say in like say the last day of August, everything's open. You've never done anything for since like let's say you hadn't been to the pub, you hadn't been out, you hadn't done whatever. What would be the first thing you did?
I think it would be play football.
Yeah.
I think
like 5-a-side.
Yeah, 5-a-side probably. Just because I don't like I did miss going out for food, but over lockdown, that's one of the things that I sort of spent a lot of my time doing, and being able to like
chefing,
recreate a takeaway and recreate going out for food from home. So I sort of didn't miss that, and I was almost not in a snobby way, but like I didn't want to because I was so happy with the food that I was cooking. I was like, well, why am I gonna go and pay 25 quid
Shove
for
that Gordon Ramsay.
someone to do it? You know what I mean? I was like, well, I don't want to. And the thing is, when you enjoy doing it as well, it's like, why would you pay someone else to do that for you? Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? It just didn't make sense. So I still don't think I've been out for a proper meal. Been out for a few drinks and stuff, but not to me for 6.
Oh, I went out yesterday and it's bloody cold.
Yeah.
I didn't take a jacket.
Freezing, mate.
I just sat there eating chicken wings like this.
Yeah, it's freezing out there at the minute. Like even up in this loft, it is cold up here.
Yeah.
I've got no heating. No, I just knocked the knife.
I think the first thing I do it'd be football, but I want to go watch a game. I want to go watch Carlisle.
Like be full, like a full stadium sort of.
Yeah, full
job.
stadium. Everyone's
Yeah.
belting out. Worst thing about with COVID as well, it proper knocked Carlisle's season, which I'm good about because they all got COVID, and like they weren't able to run for 90 minutes anymore.
Oh, of course, yeah.
I won't go to Carlisle's season. People don't care about Carlisle, but I do, and I'm looking forward to watching them with my dad.
Fair enough, mate. I've seen Carlisle play.
Yeah.
Yeah, I watched them play against Liverpool, Anfield.
Some years back.
It wasn't that long ago. It was like 3 or 4 years. No, Brendan Rodgers was coach still, so it was a bit ago.
I know they played Everton. They actually gave Everton a good run.
Yeah, mate, it went to penalties.
Yeah.
Like Liverpool, the Liverpool. It was one of the most boring games of football I've ever watched in my life. Freezing in like November, right up at the top of the Kop, like absolutely frozen. It went to 120 minutes of play and penalties, and it was like a 1-1. And I genuinely, like I said to my mate who's a Liverpool fan, the only thing I'll take out of that is like the Carlisle fans got to celebrate a goal at Anfield, and it went to penalties, and like it must have been great for them. But as a neutral, it was absolutely boring. It was so shite, mate. It was so bad.
I'm sorry I keep on coughing because I tried before we recorded. I was like, oh, I've got a bit of a frog in my throat. I'll try and get that out. So I did a bit of I muted myself and tried to get it.
Yeah.
I'm just giving myself like an itch in my throat.
Give it another go. Try and get it out. Mute yourself if you want. I can carry the conversation.
Yeah, you could.
Oh yeah, I know. Yeah, let's go into the next section. Right. Yeah, you mute yourself. You go and cough away. Right. So the next section that we're going to go on to, it's going to be sort of a weekly. What's the word? Segment. A weekly segment. And yeah, a weekly thing. And a little conversation starters, especially when we have guests on. It'll be interesting to speak to them. And it's called Choose One, Lose One. So it's essentially Would You Rather.
Would you rather with a nice rhyme?
Yeah, Would You Rather with a nice little rhyme to it. And I don't know. So basically, we're going to give each other 2 options. We're going to give this or that, and you have to choose one. And
do you want to do them so you do 5 and I do 5, or do you want to do 1, 1, 1?
Do I go? I don't know, mate. What do you fancy?
1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1.
1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. Right, let me just get mine up.
It sold for 185 quid. I thought I was going to get 130. So.
That's happy days, mate.
Right, 1 minute. Right.
Right, yeah, not right. Choose one.
Do you want to go first, or should I?
You can go first.
So choose one, lose one. First one is Eminem or Ed Sheeran.
Oh, that's horrible. Man, they are like.
Because they're both massive.
They're both massive for me as well.
Different, and one's Britain, one's America, one's singing. They're like icons of their own little genre.
That the thing is as well for me, like these are 2 people that, like, if you were to ask me who were my favourite artists, them 2 would be in there without a doubt. If people ask me top 3, I always say like Ed Sheeran, Eminem, and Oasis. They're like the 3 completely different genres, all of them. But
yeah,
oh dear, I think I don't know. I think I'm gonna have to choose.
I don't know if you can hear the drum roll, but
Mate, I honestly have no idea who to choose because the thing is, Eminem is better, I would say, and has done more. But however, I literally started playing guitar because of Ed Sheeran, so it's like
should we form a band?
I'm not a,
I can't play any instrument or sing, but I'd be the Chin-Waggin band.
I think I'm going to have to choose Ed Sheeran because Eminem didn't make me want to become a rapper. He didn't make me start rapping. You know what I mean? Whereas like Ed Sheeran inspired me to pick up a guitar and learn how to play. I think.
Yeah. You see,
I'm going Eminem. No, I'm going Eminem because 8 Mile is the swaying point and it's class and yeah.
well, Ed Sheeran could do one.
Yeah, but he's been in Game of Thrones and it was dreadful, and he's been in.
I think so. People didn't like that because they knew it was announced beforehand and they were looking for him.
Yeah, I don't think it fit though. Like, I just don't think it fit. He didn't even play a part. He like played Ed Sheeran in Game of Thrones. Like, they even made him sing. Like, it's not necessary. Just if I just noticed him, I'd be like, oh, go on, Ed. But
Well,
like,
they could have the Ed Sheeran version of 8 Mile, Country Lanes.
yeah, mate, it's a tough one. And to be
or
honest,
just Main Street hyphen Ipswich.
if you put them two sort of with anyone else, I would shoot. It would like be Eminem or Ed Sheeran every time. But the fact that you put them together, I'm really baffled by it.
I took a gamble on that. I thought you liked Ed Sheeran.
Yeah, I do. A big fan.
Okay.
Big fan. Oh, I need to give you one now, don't I? Right. It's broad as well. It's broad, this one. But so choose one or lose one. Restaurants or takeaways. So, like, I'm talking about going out to eat or ordering in. So, if you had to choose, you can never. If you choose ordering in, you can never go out for a meal again, and vice versa.
Yeah, I forgot. I've got to lose the other.
Yeah, it's not just like I'm not just asking you what you prefer. You're like the other one goes, doesn't exist. That's why it was hard for me with M and Ed Sheeran because
I think I'm gonna go with eating out, like going out for a meal, because takeaway. And don't get me wrong, I love a takeaway.
Yeah.
And I've had many a takeaway. Probably, yeah, obviously more than I've had meals, but the takeaway experience is similar, more similar to just a regular like eating at home. Whereas if you take away going out for a meal, you don't have like there's nothing similar that compares. Like
the one thing that sort of sways me on it is
the social aspect for me as well.
Yeah, exactly, and like the celebratory aspect of it, like going out for a meal to celebrate something. I'll tell you what, I'll let you have weddings though. Like weddings could still have a meal, even if you choose takeaways. You can still have a meal at your wedding, but that's it.
I mean, I'd have a Domino's at my wedding.
That's technically a wedding breakfast. So, but yeah, you could have a Domino's. I've told my missus I'm convinced that I want a Chinese buffet at our wedding. He wouldn't be happy with that. Everyone would find something they want. It'd be well cheaper. Just keep refilling the noodles and that.
You'd make such a mess.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, like how many sauces is there in Chinese cuisine?
Well, you'd only go for like 4.
All over the wedding dress.
I feel like you'd go like sweet and sour curry, black bean, and maybe like something else. I don't know, satay, and then weird ones with the nutty sauce.
I've over lockdown, I've ordered like weird things from the Chinese I've never had before just to try it. And one of them that I didn't think I'd like, that I really like, hot and sour soup.
Oh yeah, no, really nice. Yeah. I have that at Chinese buffets.
Almost every time I'll get that now.
Yeah, it's class. It's class. I've taken a massive liking to prawn toast as well over lockdown. I was always a fan of it, but like now I have to order it every single time I get a Chinese.
Spring rolls are just when I was at uni, I would just go into Tesco, buy a big thing of like spring rolls.
Duck spring rolls.
Yeah, and I genuinely I just put them on a tray.
Bro, them duck spring rolls from Tesco are the one. any kind of duck spring rolls. To be honest, mate, when I saw in Liverpool, there's this place. Can't remember what it's called. So there was one called Thai. I think it was Thai Pan. Yeah, so Thai Pan Chinese buffet restaurant, and you can either eat in or you can go in and choose like a medium or large box, and they just give you a box for a fiver. You just go in and you just fill it, and then just walk out with it. And it's class. I'd always got 2 boxes, mate, and literally like filled one with like just like appetizers and stuff. You know what I mean? And then filled one with like, but it's still cheaper. Like we had to share it with the missus. We got like £10, and we got loads of scran.
Yeah, definitely. Right, I'm gonna move on to another one. Well,
Yeah,
this one,
no worries. Oh, hang on, wait there. Just wait. Just to put it out there, I would have chosen takeaways.
Oh, but I'll tell you what, on the past one, I would have chosen M&M over Ed Sheeran.
Would you? Yeah. I do too. Remember, I went back because 8 miles swayed me. But yeah, I think my idea, even the celebratory aspects, sort of, I have very fond memories of being like around my nana and granddad's and ordering like a Chinese at Christmas where you have all the family round. You know what I mean? So like, we always actually did that rather than going for a meal. We go for a meal on like New Year's Day and stuff. But in terms of what I preferred, sort of growing up, and even now, I'd rather sort of be round my nana and granddad's, or everyone sort of having a drink, chilling. Like, I feel like it's more relaxed. Like, I would also, if I had a better setup, I would probably never go to the cinema again, because I prefer to be comfy and.
Really?
Yeah. Like, that's what I mean. If I had a setup that could compare to it and give me anything similar to what that you get when you go to like the Odeon and the IMAX, then I would never go to the cinema again. Like, if I had a cinema room, I would never go to the cinema again. It's not the social aspect that gets me. It is fully like that. It looks better. It feels better.
It's, going to the cinema is one of, like, I'd say the top 3 things I really want to do. Like, it sounds sounds like I'm going skydiving, but
I know what you mean.
Next one, Manchester or London?
Manchester. Not even a shadow of a doubt.
Yeah,
it's for the north, isn't it? It's for the north.
Well, that's what I thought, but then I also thought, because you're quite like theatrical.
Yeah, no, I get that. There's the West End. The West End is a massive swaying point.
Also, it's it's got like sightseeing in Manchester is well, what is it's like what
on that? I'll see on that. I'm thinking like, because obviously we can't get rid of one, can we? Say if I could only ever visit one. Ooh.
Yeah, because it's like the fact that it's choose one, lose one. It's not what do you feel more patriotic?
If I could, no, you know what? If someone said to me, if you like, you can either only visit Manchester or you can only visit London for the rest of your life, I still think I'd choose Manchester.
Really?
I think I would, yeah.
I think I would, just because I don't have to sit on the train for 4 hours.
Like, I do love London, but it's mainly because of the West End, stuff like that. Like, I've been sightseeing and that, and I don't know, it's just not that much. I love the museums in London. Like, I love that side of it, but like, I don't know, man. I've not been in a long time. Maybe I should go again and then revisit.
Yeah, well, we're going to London in August. We're going to Watford to the Harry Potter.
That's sort of my plan.
That was my birthday.
The reason of me going to London next, I guarantee, will be that.
Tell you what, it's not cheap.
No, it's not, mate. I know, that's why I've not gone yet.
I'm that knobhead boyfriend who Googles how much his presents were, and I'm looking at the cheap.
Yeah, it's a spenny do, lad. It is a spenny do. It's not cheap.
If I was gonna pick one.
Yeah, what are you saying? Would you say London?
London, without a doubt, is more of an experience for me. Like, there's more to do.
Yeah.
But Manchester is quick and easy at the moment for me. I'm not saying I won't ever move, but also Manchester has that more homely feel. Like, if the north just cut off from England, like, Manchester would be the capital. Like, I feel more like associated with Manchester being.
Yeah, there's a lot of great things that have come out of Manchester as well, like musically and like obviously, like I just said before, Oasis is probably another reason why I sway towards Manchester.
Yeah.
And the football. I hate United, man. I've grown up being told we don't like Man United. Like, my mum was a Liverpool fan, my dad was a Leeds fan. but
Yeah.
I wouldn't
Well,
take. I wouldn't ever take them out of the game. Like I would. I need United need to exist. Like
I'm gonna actually preface the rest of any episode of the podcast with my footballing views while we're kind of on the topic.
yeah.
I'm a Carlisle fan.
Mm.
Like, if Carlisle were in the Premier League, it'd be Carlisle.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. Get that.
I was quite late getting into football. I was like 10, 11. I was too much of a nerd playing Pokemon. And so when I got into football, like, the players I was watching, like, my favourite player is Robin Van Persie.
Right.
And,
Yeah.
like, it was at the end of Alex Ferguson's reign, and all my friends supported United. And, you know, like, at the time, because I didn't give a shit about Carlisle.
Yeah.
And I've only sort of gathered that in time talking to my dad more about football, because he's a Carlisle fan. It's like, I can't just abandon that I enjoyed watching, and I'm a fan of Man United.
Yeah.
But then,
Yeah. I get
obviously,
that.
since then, like every other football fan, I've gone with what my dad was a fan of or whatever. And so it's like, it's one of them. It's like, I'll support United unless it was against Carlisle. Carlisle I'd support, and I follow Carlisle a lot. It's just,
I'm
it's more
Newcastle
Carlisle
through and
games
through.
than United games. It's just, yeah, it's a weird mix, and I know people are like, you can't be apathetic on it, you can't be on the fence, but in my situation, it's one of them. I can't just abandon. I can't, I've got Man United shirts and stuff, and
Yeah.
I mean, in front of me, I've got a couple of Man United scarves. I can't just turn around and be like, nah, not anymore.
Especially when they are sort of, one of them's a local thing and one of them's sort of something that you've supported when you were a kid. Like
Yeah,
the bond that obviously you and your dad have with Carlisle is sort of why football is what it is.
Yeah.
That's like, well, you speak to the professionals, mate. They grow up supporting a team. They end up playing for a certain club for 6-7 years, and they become one of that club, and they support that club then. And then after their career, that's the club that they follow. And like, I was listening to a Match of the Day podcast. Micah Richards like loves City because he was there for so long, from Leeds. So got a liking towards Leeds, but as a kid he supported Arsenal. So like,
Yeah.
there's 3 clubs that like it's easily done. But yeah, I'm Newcastle through and through, really.
I've also got an affinity to Swansea, but that's for a different day.
Yeah, everyone has these weird ones. Like I love Barcelona, but not so much at the minute because of.
No. What? Do you want to go on to?
Oh mate, I've got to
Man
hit you
United?
with another choose one, lose
Yeah,
one.
I was going to say, do you want to go through the? We've got another.
I've got another few to go.
Yeah,
Yeah,
another
we'll
5, yeah.
we'll
We'll
circle
go.
back. We'll circle back. We'll circle back. So yeah, number 2 for me to ask you is choose one, lose one. Books or audiobooks?
Books.
Books.
I've listened to audiobooks, and they're good, but if I wanted to listen to something, I listen to a podcast, such as the Chin-Waggin podcast, which you can follow down on Instagram, leave a like and subscribe.
Yeah, we just plugged ourselves.
Yeah.
Nice. Meta.
Yeah, I definitely do it because I enjoy the discussion more, but with a book, like, I am able to read. I can do that myself, and I feel like even with a voice, like, I don't know, like, you do the voices for characters in your head and stuff. And
Yeah.
I was, like I said, I was a big nerd growing up, and I read a lot. Percy Jackson, Harry Potter, all of them. And I can still to this day read really fast because of that, and like, or I can
My
read
girlfriend's like that.
music while watching a TV show. I've just got this weird thing, and as much, I hate that I don't read anymore, but like, a book any day of the week for me.
I mean, I'm one of these people that like can't read. I mean, obviously I can read, but you know, like I can't. Whether it's an attention span thing, whatever it is, it's something that I've always struggled with. It honestly annoys me a little bit, but like I've always been actively. Like, I've never been one of them people that could learn by just reading either. Do you know what I mean? I almost feel like when I read, it doesn't go in the same.
Did your parents read to you a lot?
Yeah, but this is the thing. I think they must have cottoned on to the fact that I struggled sort of. I mean, that's the thing. Like when I was like really young, I was like a really good reader. You know what I mean? When you used to do reading in school, like I'm really really good at it. When it was like a competition, You know what I mean? When it was
Yeah.
like when we were in a leaderboard and there was levels and it was like, well, I can it's just letters. Like I can tell you what that says, no problem. But then when it goes after that and it's like doing it in your own time and reading out for enjoyment, I always sort of struggled with it. And even from like a young age, I had like the tape cassettes of audio of the Harry Potter audio books with Stephen Fry narrating them.
Yeah.
So like I don't know. I've always just sort of found it a bit easier. Like I can just sort of close my eyes and picture it, without having to read it. I don't know, because the thing is, I've got quite an active imagination as well.
Yeah.
So it's quite odd for me to. But I find often that can be the case. It's like it's probably an attention thing. Like I say, I was like that in school. Like I'd get distracted easily.
My best mate, he loves audiobooks, but he loves reading as well, and he finds it really like a lot easier to relax to with an audiobook because you're not like trying to get comfortably
Yeah,
in bed.
exactly. I just literally just pop my headphones in, like close my eyes and just listen. That being said, I'm talking about audiobooks almost as if most of the audiobooks I've listened to have been autobiographies, which I would say is, I guess, more like a podcast in a way. It's because I listen to a lot of podcasts, but I have listened to a few audiobooks and they are good. Like I would choose audiobooks myself, but I would never really get rid of books. So I would probably choose books. You know what I mean? Like if I had to choose one and lose one, then I would never get rid of books because of other people and the amount of films that have come from good books and stuff like that.
If mine actually leads on quite well from this because mine is games or films.
Oh, you horrible bastard!
Because I know you love films.
Oh no!
Like just from speaking to you, like you're like what is it you've watched? It was it Godzilla vs Kong?
Yeah.
But like, obviously, I know you're a fan of games as well, so.
Ah, that's absolutely stumped me that. Because the thing is as well, they're both so good for the same reason. They're both like you lose yourself within it, and they both have that social aspect of it as well, of being able to talk about with friends. But the gaming with my mates, I would have to say games.
I would agree.
Only because and it's probably because it's fresh in my memory. Like, could I have got past the last year throughout COVID without games? I would have struggled because it was so social. It was like you slap on your headset and you're basically in a room with your mates and you're chatting, you're having banter.
Yeah.
Couple of hours, you forget that the world's falling apart around you. You know what I mean? So it was. Yeah. Whereas with films, you do get that. Of course, you did get that, but it was still quite. Even though I lived with my girlfriend, it's still quite like you're in that world together. Whereas, like, I don't know, the games have shaped a lot of. I don't know.
I agree with games, but my reasoning was, although I definitely agree with the social aspect, was because in a game I could play Pokemon Snap or Call of Duty or Halo or whatever I'm playing at the time, and I could genuinely play it for like 24 hours. Whereas with a film, you've watched it for 2.5, and you can think about it. You could probably do what a lot of people like with Star Wars or whatever do.
Yeah.
YouTube it and do it, but after that 2.5 hours, like that's gone until you watch it again. And don't get me wrong, I love films, but it almost feels more temporary.
Am I allowed to, right, in this situation, are we getting rid of every game that ever existed or every film that ever existed? Or is it from this point on, I can only do one or the other?
From this point on,
right, all right, then, yeah.
So at this point on, you can't
watch any more films.
You can know about games, but you can never play them.
Oh, right. Oh,
and I'm
gonna
say you can't.
Oh, imagine like a trailer for a sick film coming out though, and you just be like, can't watch it.
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
Avengers Endgame 2.
Exactly. Well, have you seen the finale of Phase 4 of Marvel?
Yeah.
Is going to be Guardians of the Galaxy 3. That's going to be the last film of Phase 4, so that'll be class.
Yeah, it's difficult because I need to know what happens in the next Spider-Man.
Well, Spider-Man leads on to Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness, and obviously Guy Lado that's playing Doctor Octopus has come out and said that he's in it, hasn't he? So
Yeah,
the
and
cat's out of the bag now.
it's basically confirmed that Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire are in it as well.
That's a madness, isn't it? That is an absolute madness.
Oh, you can't, right? Going back to the film debate, or like, yeah, when you said that you'd rather watch a film at home,
Yeah.
you can't tell me you do not want to see that film in cinema, like on the big screen with the surround sound.
Yeah,
like,
absolutely. Yeah, no, I want that, but I want that in my garden. I don't want it. I don't want it surrounded by other people. I want it. Do you know what it is? Do you know what it is? In fact, no, it's not. If you can take me to Odeon Gallery, up top. Have you ever been? Right. So basically, if you go into the Odeon, plug for Odeon. Hope they give us free cinema tickets. You can go up and basically it's like VIP more or less. You pay more, but you get like a sofa to sit on. You get free popcorn, free refills on your drinks, free nachos. It's like 20 quid each. So you sit up and there's actually a nice like a bar that you can go to beforehand and sit and have a drink before you go into the film. Like,
where's that?
In pretty much like any big Odeon. It was at the one in Liverpool one. And then once I started doing that when I was living in Liverpool, my love for going to the cinema came back. But what it is I'm 6'5". Cinemas aren't built for people like me. Like I'm uncomfy. I've paid to watch a film and I'm not comfortable watching it. I've got someone's elbow pushing into me, my knees up against the seat in front of me. It's like, nah, I'd much rather not. That's the thing. If HBO Max sort of comes to UK, because the reason that I go is obviously how amazing it looks, etc. And to see it, because I have to wait otherwise. Like
tell you what, when Spider-Man comes out, we'll go to.
Yeah, we'll do a special.
We'll go to the VIP Odeon. We'll get it booked in.
Yeah, we'll do a. I think there's one in. Is there not? There's probably nice ones. There's one in Ambleside, isn't there? Zeffirelli's or something. Where you sit on sofas. Like I say, it's the comfort aspect. I want to be comfy watching the movie. I don't want to be like pushed up against the seat. That's where I struggle at. I went to watch Endgame. It's like 3 hours of being semi comfortable. Like I wasn't uncomfy, but like fidgeting and that. Like
I get what you mean. It's a bit like me on planes. Like I'm. Like,
Oh.
I've probably seem tiny in comparison to you. I'm 6'2", so I'm still tall.
Yeah, exactly. Planes are horrible, man. Like
you feel like you're folded up like a deck chair.
We need to normalise things for tall people, man. We just get left behind.
Like most of the people in my year, like at school, like lads, like I'd say like a good majority are over 5'11".
Yeah.
And like anyone over 6 foot who goes on a jet two flight will come off with severe knee.
Both of my mates. I've got more than 2 mates. I'd say like two or three of like my mates that are, hang on, no. I'd say over half of us are above 6 foot. Out of like my friendship group, like the lads from school that I'm still in a group chat with, like I'd say like over half of us are over 6 foot easily. So I don't know.
What's your next one?
Yeah, true. What is my next one? Next one is it's a bit of a random one. This lions or bears. Not to be morbid as well. We don't have to wipe them off the face of the earth. Like,
okay.
Just either you know what, you can have one as a pet and it's trained and won't eat you, or Paige.
Right. I'm gonna go with a bear.
Yeah, just as animals, you know, like what do you prefer?
Because there is not an animal in the animal kingdom I would less like to fight than a bear. Like I'd rather take on a shark.
Oh, bro, I saw a clip of a bear running the other day. Man, they can shift.
They can hit up to like 40 miles an hour.
They look like you know, like when things look like they're going slow, but they're going that fast, because he was just covering that much ground, but his body's moving quite slow. It was just like, it was staggering. And I'm pretty sure they can climb faster than they can run. Don't know how true that is. That's a Dwight Schrute quote.
Well, I mean, they've got giant claws, so it wouldn't shock.
But I also believe they can't run downhill.
Is that not cows?
No, I think it is bears. Because think of how they run. How would that work going down a hill? They'd just tumble, wouldn't they?
Yeah. I would but like I said, I'd rather fight like 2 lions than a bear. I'd hedge my bets better. Like if I come up against a bear, like
Ah,
Leonardo DiCaprio in The Revenant, I am dead. Like there's not like it's not like, oh, like, you know, it's a 5% chance I might, like, you know, I am dead. But like Dunzo, I
I
am
think
done.
if I come up against the right bear, I think I could survive because I'm a big guy. Like if I went full big, full line, just screamed at it, it might think, oh fuck,
No,
I'm not
let's
fucking
say
with
there's
that.
none of that.
Or if it's we're scrapping, if it's like right, right, yeah,
Like
then
the only bear I could maybe be is a panda.
koala. Give yourself a bit of credit,
Yes, tree.
Ed. I think I love bears. Like I really do. I'd love to hug a bear. You know the ones that look like proper grizzly ones that look like bear in the big blue house.
Yeah. Oh,
But
yeah.
lions are so majestic. That's the thing. Like
Yeah,
I'm
but
in awe when I see like animals. Like I, I think for the past 3 years of my birthdays, I've gone to zoos just because like when yeah man, and I hate it as well. But like I spoke to when I went to Chester Zoo. I got there really early and I spoke to the woman who sort of is in charge of the lion sanctuary sort of thing.
yeah,
And she was sort of saying that the 3 that were there um, were endangered and they were breeding them to sort of it was a conservation project. And when I look at it like that, I think okay, but yeah, the point being like when I see these creatures, man, I'm in such awe of it. Like I've got a video on Instagram of I was putting my hands up against the glass because the woman had told me to do it. 'Cause she was like, oh, they like playing with the glass because they're quite new to the sanctuary area thing. And the glass like confused him because it's dead slippy. And then this lion came over, man, and just started like
yeah.
washing the glass. It looked like it was sick. I was like, and my hands were on the other side, just doing it back to it. It was class. It was class, yeah. I would probably pick bears too, though. After that medal, after.
Like, this is how much you told me about bears, right? That's how much you just told me about lions.
Yeah, well, maybe that's what it is, though. Maybe it's because sort of the curiosity of lions is less than it is of bears.
I think they should make the Lion King, but the Bear King, and just doing some like Russian.
You know, Brother Bear, man. Brother Bear was enough. I don't need to watch another film
I
like
haven't
that.
seen that, but
Oh.
I feel like that's rung a bell as something that's sad.
Yeah, it's sad. It's a sad film. It's
Yeah.
good though. Very good film.
Let's see what's next on the old list. Oh, this is a bit less. But you might get inspired by this one. But McDonald's or KFC?
It's funny because I've had Naughty Naughty. I actually had one of each in the past
I'm having
week.
Mackey's for tea, mate. I wouldn't worry.
Now, I think I would choose Mackey's on variety because KFC is just chicken and I can still get chicken from Mackey's. It doesn't do the same job. Like I'm not out here saying it does, but I can.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think.
Because of the variety, you'd go for McDonald's. But
Yeah.
let's say you can only have one ever again, I'd go KFC.
Would you? See, I wouldn't. I'd see. Yeah, that's definitely not for me. I'd go Mackey's. Like if I'd been.
No, but like, you can only have one meal. Like let's say like you can't just have.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Really?
My head's gone everywhere. Yeah, I think I would because I need to taste me some nuggets for the last time, and my Mackey's order is like I've got it on lock. Like KFC, I change it up every time. I don't really.
Really, I'm the other way around. Every time I go at Mackey's, it's something different.
Mackey's, I get 20 nuggets, large fries, large Oasis, plain double cheeseburger, McFlurry. It's a lot of different things represented. Whereas like KFC, I'm like chicken, fries, gravy.
I need KFC gravy is basically what my life support is.
Yeah.
So where I live, Kendal.
Yeah.
They had a KFC.
I know, mate. I went to college there for 2 years, didn't I?
Middle of town.
Yeah, right in the middle of town.
It's closed.
I know. Rough. I had many a KFC in there. It was a nice little KFC.
I mean, I was going to say it's slow, but every KFC I've ever been to, like, I swear the staff, like, they just ruined it.
Yeah, KFC don't do
I'm
speed.
sorry if anyone works at KFC, but the KFC staff, like, you see Mackey's staff, it's like something is on fire in the back room, and they are working hard to get your food to you and put that fire out. You walk into KFC, and it's like,
Yeah, I get what you mean. I get what you mean.
It's like zombies.
I get that
Like,
vibe.
you'd argue it's easier because at the end of the day, it all just goes into the fryer.
Yeah.
It's fried chicken, salad, fries, or chicken.
Must be rough. But people speak to them like shit.
Yeah, no, I went to like.
That's
I
the
went
only
to, like,
side of it that way.
Like some of the people in there, maybe it's just Lancaster. But
Thing is, there's always two sides to that. There's the side of don't give them a reason to, and then there's the side of some people are just bellends and will complain. Like some restaurants and takeaways do give you a reason to complain. It's like, well, and you know what? Some, and that really winds me up, just expect you not to because it's KFC or because it's Mackey's. Do you know what I mean?
oh, no, every time
it's like I still get what I want, mate. Like I'm still ordering, still paying. I don't give a shit if it's Mackey's. Like, give me my curry sauce. Why? Right. I'll ask this: Does Mackey's sauce come out of the employee's wage? Because they are tentative about giving that stuff away, mate.
No, tell you what though, I went to not the last time I went to Mackey's, maybe the time before. I went in, Donny. I don't know his name, but I wanted his name because he was giving me like Rit style service.
No, good man, good man.
And he was like, "What can I get any sauce for you?" I was like, "Yeah, some ketchup, maybe some barbecue." He was like, couple of each maybe, or do you want a bit more? I was like, just a couple of each. Like, he asked me if I wanted more than two.
Oh, mate, there's nothing more. I love nothing more than when I'm at Mackey's and I say, can I get some curry sauce? And they say, how many? It's like, yeah, why isn't that a standard response? Like, if someone does say 24, I say, with all the respect, stop taking the piss. But, like, I'm just, 4 max is what I'm going to say, really. And sometimes, so when you get 20 chicken nuggets, you get 4 sauces with it, don't you?
Yeah.
And I always say curry, mate, while you're ordering, right? And if they do it right, it comes up on the screen. It says 20 nuggets, curry sauce, curry sauce, curry sauce, curry sauce. And sometimes I say it and they just go, oh yeah, no worries, you just ask for sauce at the next window. And I'm like, no, that's not how it goes. Like, that, you're lying to me there. Like, just press the buttons because then the sauce will come in the bag.
You know the video with the guy jumping on the table at Mackey's asking for the Szechuan sauce?
Yeah, literally me with curry sauce.
McDonald's like kicking like people's dinners over.
The thing is though, what it is for me is like the curry sauce at Mackey's is like one of the main reasons why I go. It's like if I get to my KFC order it and then say gravy and they say we don't have any gravy, I don't want a KFC anymore.
Yeah.
If I get to the end of my Mackey's order and they say we've got no curry sauce, I don't think I want a Mackey's anymore. Like it's that crucial. So if you forget it, it ruins my meal. Anyway, what were we on about? I would choose Mackey's though. I would choose Mackey's if they bring in a curry sauce.
If I could only ever, if it was one meal ever again, I'd pick KFC. But if it was like only one for the rest of my life, it'd be McDonald's.
Yeah, fair enough. I get that.
Yeah. Right. What's the next one?
Me for you, innit? Being too warm or too cold?
Too cold, I think.
You prefer being too cold?
My mate was joining the Marines, and once you go through training, you get given a specialty.
Right.
You've got hot climates or cold climates. And I was reasoning this with myself, and I was like, I'd rather be too warm. But then, if you're warm, it's so much harder to cool yourself down than if you're cold to warm yourself up. Because you can't.
Yeah, I got you.
There's only so many layers.
You can't remove your skin, can you?
Yeah, well, I mean, you could, but
I wouldn't advise it. You wouldn't be cold anymore or warm.
But if you're too cold, you know, bang on a few jackets. You know, get some pocket warmers, do a little jog, get a duvet around you. You know, whatever you need to do. It's so much easier to warm yourself up. I mean, obviously, I think being dehydrated as well, if you're warm, is like a big what, because it's like you've always got to have water on you.
Yeah, it's rough.
That's more carrying, which would make you warmer. It depends what you're doing. I'm going off like this marine idea. Let's say you were trekking.
Yeah, I was just thinking in my house, really. But
Uh,
trekking works. I think I'm with you because I hate being too hot. I hate it. Like, there's nothing I hate more than being too hot because, like, it's so uncomfortable.
yeah,
When you're cold,
I can sleep if I'm too cold, but if I'm too hot, it's done for.
yeah, I must like being cold sometimes. Right, wrap it up in that.
Yeah,
Never enjoy being too hot. Like, I enjoy being warm. I am being, like, nice, but I never enjoy being too hot.
I was thinking this the other day. I was just lying in bed and I
Ooh.
went to the toilet and I walked into the bathroom and the bathroom floor was cold and I was like, that's quite nice. I don't know what, like, there's a bit
Yeah,
warm.
see, now I've just thought, though, the too hot when you're on holiday is kind of nice.
But that's different.
That walk off the plane, I'm too hot. Like,
Yeah, but
that's
that's
kind of
different.
nice.
You went for that reason.
Yeah,
When you're at home, you want to be comfortable.
yeah. I think it's kind of a yeah, exactly that. You can't really complain
Like
if you go to
you're
a
on
hot
holiday,
country and it's
yeah,
hot.
go to get a tan. Like, yeah, no, definitely. Too cold. I'd rather be too cold.
Yeah, no, I think
Um,
I'm in agreement with you on that one for sure.
the last one, and we kind of touched on this earlier. And it's always like leading on to other bits, I guess. But work or uni, like if you were to leave school straight away, what would you recommend to people? It's almost like not choose one,
Ooh.
lose one, I guess. But it's like, what would you recommend to people?
I would recommend uni always. However, don't go. I'll say it right into the camera. Don't just go because you finished college. That is the biggest and best bit of advice that I can give to anyone who is looking and at that stage now where they're leaving college, or whatever. Just don't just go because that's what people are doing. You know what I mean? That's the mistake that I made. Mature, like mentally, I was nowhere near ready to be living on my own in a city. But because that's what everyone was doing, that was what I did. You know what I mean? And then
Yeah,
ended up dropping out after 3 months, and I never went back.
I was on the other end where like I loved that bit and I was ready to move out.
Right.
But the main thing was for me is I mean I did a childcare course at college, and I was like I want to be a teacher. I want to be a teacher, and then I went to go do teacher training. I was like I don't like kids like at all. Like I just want to kick them.
Yeah, that's an issue if you want to
And
be a
yeah,
teacher.
it's always one of those things you should avoid, especially kicking them. Don't do that.
I would definitely advise not to.
But like a lot of people I know, like they go to uni because after A levels or college, like they've got like, they've got this idea that they've got to go now. Like now is the time to go, and they don't necessarily know what they want to do, so they'll go do a geography degree, say.
Yeah.
Like fair enough, you probably enjoyed geography doing your A levels or whatever, or GCSE or whatever. You probably enjoyed it, but then like you come up with a geography degree, and like you've got quite limited options in what you want to do. Like I'd almost recommend taking a gap year,
Yeah.
but don't do it to go off to Thailand, wear some elephant pants and stroke some endangered rhino.
Yeah.
Go and like just go work, like get a
Yeah.
job, like either like intern or whatever, and like if it's something you want to do, and just explore different things you want to do, and then if it's something you really want to do, you could go to uni the next year. And I went to uni a year later than everyone else because I dropped out of sixth form to go to college.
Right. Yeah.
And like no one even notices you're a year older, so like.
Oh no, absolutely not, man. The only thing that you will
like 28, and I was like, oh yeah, so what did you do at sixth form? They're like, that was 10 years ago, mate.
Yeah, the only thing that you sort of notice, I feel like when you're 18 and it's because all of your mates are and you don't want to get left behind them. That's how I felt, but I've not seen 99% of them people that I was on my college course with since I left my college course, really. So it's like people, they need like that's what I'm trying to get across. Like I would go to uni now at the age that I'm at. However, Yeah, I would definitely say uni out of them two, because I feel like that not always, but can quite often be the pathway to what a lot of people want to do, even if it's just you meet like-minded people there who want to do the
Yeah.
same thing as you and end up making a company, working on a
I,
project together, and you know what I mean. I just feel like it's that I wouldn't ever sort
I
of
think
take away.
I think the social aspect was a big, like, that was the main reason I wanted to stay, because like I made friends there, and like the friends you make at home are it's really different, because you've got like this weird like mentality, but like I don't know how to describe it. Like you're at home and everyone thinks the same.
Yeah,
You go, it's the best way I could put it, but it's like if you're in that position where you're at college or sixth form and you go to uni, you'll be like, what the fuck are you on about?
yeah,
When you
literally,
go,
yeah.
you'll understand. It's like when it's so different. It's like I couldn't even put it away, because people are from such different backgrounds, and like people will fall out more, and
Yeah,
people equally will not tolerate the same. But because if you fall out with someone at school or college, it's like you're still local. You still have to see them every day, and like
yeah.
either you
Especially
click,
round here.
yeah, and if you click up, or you fall out and you never speak to each other again. There, it's like people will tell you what you're doing. It's kind of weird. It's almost like people have always seen you at home, like in the same way since you were 5 or since you were 11.
Yeah,
But when you're at
yeah, yeah.
uni, people have known you since you were 18, 19, 20, whenever you went. And
Exactly, yeah,
the image they have of you is much closer to how you are now, because you're still on that first impression.
yeah,
But also, I would like to say that uni isn't for everyone, because
yes,
like people aren't academically, some people aren't academically minded. Like my sister's incredibly clever, like, but she's doing paint and decorating because that's what she enjoys. It's like she didn't need a degree. She said straight off in sixth form, like, um, all of the sort of uni coordinator came out and like Maisie, you haven't submitted your UCAS application. It's due today. She's like, yeah, I'm not going. And the UCAS lady, she was like, what? Why? Like
yeah.
you're not going to uni? And she's like, well, I don't want to. Like,
It's a
it's not.
business, man. That's the thing that a lot of people need to realize as well. And I sort of not fell victim to it, but so when I went and did, I, right, I should probably do a quick intro onto who I am. So I'm 27, and I went to uni a long time ago, and sort of dropped out. But I was studying acting and performing arts, and that was what I studied for a long time, sort of all the way through school. That was what I always did. Then went to college for 2 years in Kendal, which is where Ed lives, and I was lived, lives. Do you live there still?
I do, just outside.
Just
Yeah.
outside, right? So
I lived in Windermere, which a lot of anyone who's listening from anywhere that's not currently
yeah, literally,
Windermere is where the big lake is.
yeah.
Kendal is the town next to it.
So yeah, I was at college there, and I had 5 auditions lined up, all at some at bigger drama schools, some at smaller ones. I sort of like rocked up to my first or second audition at UCLan, which is in Preston, which is just a university. Realistically, it was my what was the word that you said that like backup, you know. Like,
Oh, yeah, I get what you mean.
yeah, it was my sort of fail-safe one, and I went there, did my audition, and they flattered me massively. They offered me an unconditional place on the course, and basically said, we don't care what you get in your college, in your college grades. We want you to come here. Like, you could fail for all we care. Like, we want you to come. So I was like, right, well, that's very flattering. And when you tell an 18-year-old that, I just didn't give a shit about college anymore. It was like, these lot want me, you know what I mean? So I was really flattered by it, and it just went to my head, and it was like the smallest thing, and a sort of lack of effort for the rest of the year in college, which maybe hit my grades a little bit. But what hit my grades more than anything, on all them courses all the way throughout when I was in year 7 or whatever, was the academic side of it, like writing an essay about a performance that I'd just done. Like, I'd get 30 out of 30 out for my performance. I'd get 20 out of 20 for my contribution to the group, and then 5 out of 10 for my essay. So like, it's just that was just the side that I always did struggle with, and I didn't look much into my course. and it turned out that the course I chose had an awful lot of that side of the game, and I was like, oh shit, like I've done myself in here. And like you said before, like it was, and you're absolutely right in what you're saying. Looking back, it's ridiculous because I know how happy my mates sort of were to have me back around and have their mate back, but I was ashamed of sort of coming back and dropping out. Like, you feel like a failure. That's the long and short of it,
Yeah,
isn't it? You do.
I'd hazard that some people, because of lockdown coming straight after I dropped out of uni, I would hazard that some people I know wouldn't know that I dropped out of uni.
Yeah, yeah.
Because I had 2 months to sort of see them, and then it's all shut down. They'll probably, like, some people just won't know.
Yeah, it took me a while to sort of
to me,
explain.
Uni is what we in May, and uni was, I left very early January of 2020. So like that's 16 months, and to me, like uni's like so far, such a far reach from my mind now.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
From my friends there. But like,
once you leave, there's the weight that's lifted up, especially when you know, because I left in January as well.
Did you come home for Christmas? And
yeah,
you were like,
yeah,
oh.
exactly that. Yeah. So it'll have been January 2014 when I left. So December 2013 probably. I came back and yeah, New Year's Eve I was meant to be going out with all my mates, and I just for whatever reason during the day I just didn't want to go anymore, and like my mood just completely shifted because I think it was the thought of starting a new year, and obviously doing that kind of thing and I just wasn't happy. I was very, very unhappy, and I was like, I don't want to celebrate it because I'm not happy, you know what I mean?
It did hit me like instantly over Christmas because, like, you know, came back and saw my family and friends. I'm like, how's uni? Like, yeah, great. Like, you know, keeping it, like, because, you know, you don't want people to hear. You don't want to be that guy that's like,
exactly.
People it's a bad time. And I came. Okay, I can't remember. My mum was just talking about like getting my train sorted or like stuff I got to do at uni. I don't know why. I literally was just holding back tears out of nowhere. I was like, I was like. It's not that I don't want to go back. It's like I just feel like I'm wasting my time.
Yeah.
And then I felt really like ashamed.
Yeah. You feel like you're disappointing people, which is ridiculous when you think about it. Because I wasn't disappointing anyone. They were disappointed for me. They weren't disappointed in me. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
that's the big difference.
Yeah, it's like well, exactly that. I felt like, you know, everyone's gonna think I'm a bloody I'm a
failure, innit? Yeah.
Yeah. And like, you know, you've been telling us like how sick uni is, and like, you know, if it maybe you've been lying, you know, maybe you like, you know, you haven't made friends, or like people think it's nothing like that, or like even today I messaged one of my mates who I was at uni with, and he's from Birmingham, and like, you know, I've made friends for life there, and I was there for from September to December to January even, and like I'm still in the house group chat that they moved into. Like I'll still get messages from that group chat because we're so close knit.
Yeah.
Even though I haven't seen them in 16 months, and it's like it's nothing like that. It's just like people need to realize that education isn't just a one glove fits all. It's
exactly,
like,
man. Yeah.
People, you like, you know, the course, like some of them really loved it. Some people, when they heard I was dropping out, came up to me and were like, I've been thinking about doing the same, but I've been too scared to say it. And it's like, it's not. Life isn't as simple as school, sixth form.
I always
college.
remember what it was for me was the moment when it all sort of. I had the meeting with the guy who was sort of. I was having a meeting about dropping out, and he was like, so how come you want to drop out? Because like I said before, remember, it is a business. They don't want people dropping out. And I just started explaining to him, and the more I said, the more worked up I got. I started, you could tell, like, my voice was shaking, I was holding back tears, and this bloke literally just put his hand on my shoulder and just went, mate, like, that's enough. I don't need you to tell me anymore. You're clearly just a lad who made the wrong decision back in September. And I was like, yeah, when he said that to me, I was like, that's exactly what it is, mate. Like, you know what I mean? in a sentence, that is exactly what I've done.
But
And
it's
I
not
just
like
need you to help me out, you know what I mean?
it's not like a wrong decision. Like you've been drink driving or something like
Yeah,
that.
no,
The
yeah.
decision you've made is you've seen something that looked really good and it just wasn't for you.
Yeah, exactly. I made the wrong call. That was all it was.
I will
And
also,
at the
I
wrong
would also,
time.
I'd like to add a light-hearted preface that Freshers Week, like, I'm not a big drinker, and I'd said earlier on that I don't really drink anymore.
Yeah.
But like, I'd say actually leaving uni, well, uni was actually the reason I don't really drink anymore. Because like,
Oh, you do it a lot there.
drink,
That's the thing.
yeah, but like, I couldn't keep up. Like, and I'd say like at home, like, I'd go out quite a bit, but like, but it's like the drinking culture of like the first day I was there, I drank a bottle of vodka and I woke up the next day. Somehow, like, I was on the other side of Sheffield. I went to uni in Sheffield. I was in one side of Sheffield at someone's house who I'd never met before, and I felt so awkward. I was just like, and a lot of them were second years, and so they're like bully the fresh air and drinking games, and like, I was trying to impress, these people. I drank an entire like big 1 liter, 2 liter bottle of vodka, and like, I just woke up with sick all down. So, and like that's actually like to this day that put like when people say drinking, that little image of me in my head, because I didn't like. I felt like I was quite a good drinker. Like I maybe a bit on the lightweight side, but I'd never been sick or anything like that. And it was all over me. I genuinely, like, I'm fairly certain from what I've been told, they just grabbed me like under my arms and just grabbed me and just towed me across Sheffield.
Yeah, well, I mean, this is the thing as well with me. Going on from obviously all of that side of uni, I did that. Absolutely, I did. Like, I did it heavy for the first 2 weeks, and it wasn't easy as well, because when you're doing an acting course, you can't go and sit in the back of a lecture hall and sort of be quiet and just sort of slowly die. Like, you've got to be up, and you're like bending over doing yoga every 9 o'clock every morning. You know what I mean? That kind of thing. I was like, it's not ideal. This, but as much as I loved freshers, and I experienced as much of that when I was working at a hotel and living with three of my mates that also worked at that hotel, and got that same sort of uni house vibe with that.
Yeah.
But we had fucking money. That was the difference. Like, we actually had money. Like,
what I enjoyed more about like freshers was actually like sitting in the flat, like pissing around playing like
yeah, it's that
awful
social
cooking,
side of
like
it.
go to Tesco, like with like mate, they're just hanging out with your mates. Like the drinking side wasn't. I know that everyone knows the difference. Some people love going out and drinking. Maybe it just wasn't for me.
Yeah.
I think that it's quite difficult for me to touch on this, but I think one of the main reasons we're doing the podcast was to sort of touch on mental health, especially men's mental health.
Yeah, yeah.
And talk about that's where it really settled in that I had such like I had anxiety, not
right, yeah.
And it sounds so weird because like I can talk to people and like I don't even know Jay that well or
No,
Geordie.
yeah.
Like the first time we actually spoke on a call was we were discussing the podcast. But because we thought it'd be a good idea to have people that almost don't really know each other that well, and that way we can almost get to know each other on camera. It's weird.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
like,
well, whether these guys, anybody that
I've got
listens, they're going to be on a journey with us, aren't they? That's the thing.
I've got no problem speaking to people,
Mm-hmm.
but it's like when I'm in a club or a pub or whatever, and maybe not pubs so much, but like when there's so many people and there's just music and it's like everyone's pissed around. I realized it wasn't the drinking that made me feel uneasy. It's drunk people around me. I find really difficult.
Yeah, the reliability, mate. That's the thing. I
Yeah,
completely
it's like
understand that.
I don't know what they're gonna do. And it's like you'd have like, and I get that it is a laugh, and it's not that I didn't enjoy myself. Like, but it's almost like I'd have to be more drunk than everyone else in that room, so I can forget about it. And it's like if I'm even, or like when I sober up and I'm out somewhere, it's like I'm just sat there like looking at the floor, like people around me are like coming up to you and like they hug you, and they're like, you're right, mate. Like, how you doing? Like hugging you, like, it's just all very close, and it's like,
Yeah.
for me, like, I knew mentally I wasn't 100%, but there it was like that's where drinking was such a difficult thing for me.
Well, that's the thing, mate. I think you've got to drink.
And I'd say
to
drink
enjoy,
responsibly.
like responsibly, to enjoy yourself, but not
It's-
as soon as it becomes a motive, like you
well,
just
I'd
said, to become the drunkest, because then you don't have to deal with whatever's going on in your
But
head.
my dad was told. My dad was in the police, and he said drinking culture's changed from people used to drink to have a good time to now people drink to get drunk.
Yeah,
And I mean,
but a
being
lot of
drunk,
people drink to forget as well, mate. That's why there's this culture of work Monday to Friday, drink Saturday, Sunday, go back in Monday, and it be hanging until Friday again. You know what I mean? It's weird. And like I can't sit here on a high horse and be like I don't do it. Like for the past few Saturdays, I've been down the football club watching footy with my mates, and I've had a few beers. Like,
but I'd rather be in a pub setting around people I'm comfortable around, and I know if they're gonna be volatile
yeah,
or
I
like
see.
I
This
don't
is
know.
where I don't know
Like
whether me and you differ
it's
on
all
this.
it's all about the how comfortable I am around the people. It's like if me and Paige or me and my granddad we went out for a drink, or like me and my best mate, like I'm fine in the smaller situations, but when there's like a random stranger coming up to me, or like I walk out of a club and someone who's
Yeah,
off the face on whatever and he's offering me drugs, and it's like that's really uncomfortable to me. And even though like I'm a 6'2" lad, I can handle myself. I've been in fights before, and like some like I just have to go no, and that's it.
yeah,
But to me, like on the inside, I'm like I feel like the whole world. I'm like what's going on? I'm like, and I, drinking culture it just doesn't. Maybe it's because I'm not all with it myself. It's really it's hard to explain.
yeah,
It's
man. Though you know, it's not about not being all with it. It's just everyone. Like that's why it's very interesting for me to hear that, because I think I'm sort of on the other end of it, where if I mean it's like a select group somewhere down the scale of people that I know me, but I don't know them that well. Like acquaintances, do you know what I mean?
yeah.
If you fill a room with full of people that have never met me, I will be absolutely fine in that room. If you put me in a room full of people that are my good friends and know me well, I'll be absolutely fine. It's that weird bit in the middle that I don't know how to act with. That's where I think for me, um, I started definitely to take a downward spiral with my mental health when I was at uni, and it was the first time that it had really happened. And obviously that was a while ago, so obviously I've had dips and sort of
Highs and
peaks.
lows.
Yeah, I've had highs and lows for the since sort of thing. But it for me it was a shock of I'd gone from small town, and there's not that many lads that do performing arts from round here. Realistically, there is a few, but like when you're doing a performing arts course, there's not many lads on it.
No, especially in Cumbria,
It,
everyone's a farmer.
yeah, farmer, rugby, that kind of thing, and you know they don't want to hear it if you're acting and dancing. So I sort of was always a big fish in a small pond. Even at college, even when I went from here to Kendal, which was again it was a bigger pond, but I was still the biggest fish in there. I would have said in terms of being a male performer. And then when I went to uni, on this course that they'd said like we don't give a shit what you get, come and we
Yeah,
want
and
it. So I got a bit of an ego, like
you
at
probably
this
got there
point.
and you realise that they probably said that to half the people there.
Mate, I got there and I realised, holy shit, there was 16 lads on that course, ranging from good-looking blokes that looked like rugby players to like tiny looking lads that I could just tell that anything that was about to come out of his mouth was gonna make me laugh. You know what I mean? And I was just like, shit, like and but the thing is, it was funny because that's when I went from when I was growing up, I wanted to be this lead male, fucking Tom Cruise, Brad Pitt. Quite frankly, tends to be boring role, but
Yeah,
they're the main male, and it's the
yeah.
supporting ones that's usually funnier. When I got to sort of uni, I realised I was like, right, I can't be as good looking as him, but I can be a lot funnier. You know what I mean? So that's where I was like, right, well, I'll throw that into my game. And that's when I was like, okay, I can still do that. Like, even when I was dropping out, one of my tutors was like, I don't want you to go because you're the funniest lad on this course by far. Like, it's a timing thing. And I was like, well, I appreciate that, but mate, like, there's nothing funny about what I'm going through right now. So like, yeah, and I think that was it for me. And then I felt helpless. I felt like I'd been surrounded by like such a shielded life of. I was 18 or whatever. I still had both sets of grandparents. I had a massive group of friends that were always around me, and went from that to nothing. It was just me, and I sort of went introvert instead of extroverting in that situation. I think it was an age thing. I barely cooked a meal at this point, man. Like, I was just not ready to be living on my own. Like, I really wasn't. But the thing is, like, I don't blame anyone, like my tutors, whatever, because if they'd have said, I don't think you should go this year, I would have told them to shove it. You know what I mean? There was no stopping me. It was just, it was like I say, it was an oversight, and it was a lesson. That's all it was.
You had confidence in your ability in acting, but then you got there and you realised you didn't have the life skills like you need before. Like, in terms like to get to like, you've got to build up the other bits and then you can put the acting bit on top.
Exactly. So I could go out, I could do the freshers bit. I was fucking pro at that because, again, like you say, you have a drink. I don't give a fuck. I'm still like this now, mate. If we ever have a drink together, you'll see 5 or 6 drinks down the line, that performer comes out of me, and I get louder, and I'm a bit
I just get voice breaks, mate.
Like, I'm a bit more flamboyant, and like, if karaoke's on, I'll be like, pass me that fucking microphone. You know what I mean? So like, it still does come out of me every now and again, but it's sort of it's a way of, I don't know, harnessing it and using it well, because it's only now recently that I'm actually getting back into it after however long, nearly 9 years not doing it. But I think acting is a thing about where I don't think it's age is going to actually massively play against me in that respect.
I think was I saw something the other day. It's like Alan Rickman didn't start acting.
Yeah, Gary Oldman as well. Loads of them. Like Ricky Gervais. I don't think.
Yeah, he was homeless at the time.
Yeah, he sold his dog, didn't he? Sold his dog to produce Rocky. And then once they'd won its Oscars and shit, and he'd got all of his money back from Rocky, he went to buy his dog back off the same guy, and he charged him $5,000 for it, and he was like, "Yeah, have it. I don't give a fuck. Give me my dog." Okay, it's class that.
Don't mind, I'm gonna nip to Luke's.
Yeah, no worries, man. No worries, bro.
You can intro. I mean, we can move back onto football maybe if you want.
No, I'll just wait for you, mate. I'll just edit it out.
Oh yeah, fair. Hello, I'm back from having a piss. there's your intro, mate.
That's a nice intro. I like it.
Yeah. So we're gonna move on to slightly lighter subjects, and I think it's actually quite good that we put this at the end because of, there's varied interest in football. And so if people want to click off, now would be a good time.
Yeah, we're going to talk about football now.
Football as in not hand egg.
And for all those who are only interested in football as well, click this bit now. Now we're going to talk about football.
Yeah, you can stop hearing about us crying about our sad times at uni.
I know, yeah. Much more pressing matters.
The big news in football this week has obviously been the Man United protests, which the Premier League game against Liverpool at Old Trafford has got called off.
Yes.
As like I said earlier, talking about football, although I'm a Carlisle fan, United, I'm also a United fan, and if you want to hear about all that, stop watching this clip and go on to
go further back.
Go watch the full thing. You'll understand where I stand with that, and you can take your criticisms and let's try that one again. Take your criticisms and shove them up your ass. So, what did you make of what happened at Old Trafford? So, because as an overview for people who have been living under a rock, protests took place on Sunday before the Liverpool game, which obviously big game for Man United.
Big game for England, man. Big game for football. Big game.
Yeah,
One of the biggest in
I'd say
world
outside.
football.
I'd say outside of Real Madrid, Barcelona is there a bigger game?
In club football, no, as far as I'm
I would.
concerned.
I would. I mean, yeah, and so Man United didn't have much to play for, but Liverpool had that they've got their shot at
Champions League football.
Champions League. Whereas United are more or less dead set on second, provided they don't throw the last few games. But it's obviously because it's the first time in a fair while actually, that United have been seen as the favourites.
I would say so. Yeah, I would say so.
But anyway, so given the recent, well, it's not even controversy, the recent failings in the big six clubs in regards to the Euro Super League, it spurred ongoing protests, which United fans are already having against the Glazer family, which
They've been
own the
going on for
club.
years as well.
Yeah,
Like
they've been
since
going
like
on.
2010, is it? Like green and gold till
Yeah,
Glazers till United sold. Like I remember them flags for a long time.
yeah.
The scarf, sorry.
When was it? It got sold. Was it 2005? They bought it because I think a big reason for it actually is because Sir Alex Ferguson fell out with the previous owner
Yeah.
and sort of almost pushed him into selling, which obviously has paid dividends for
Yeah,
Manchester.
2005, you're right, yeah,
Uh,
2005.
what my first question is, how do you feel about the protesting against the likes of the Glazers being a Newcastle fan? Because obviously we all know Mike Ashley is by far the worst owner in the Premier League. I would say so.
I think, like, crack on, and I'm all for protests. Newcastle have tried it as well, but the issue is, and this is the issue going off on a bit of a tangent to Newcastle because it's a similar situation.
Yeah,
What Mike Ashley has over that whole city, me included, being a lifelong fan, is he knows how loyal we are to that club, and he knows that. So he's pushing like I'm in loads of Newcastle sports group. I don't know the last person I saw that bought a Newcastle top from Sports Direct. Everyone buys them online from China, which again isn't great, but it's not putting money in Mike Ashley's pocket at the end of the day. There's been things like loads of people didn't renew the season tickets, but and of course there's been protests against Mike Ashley. However, going onto the pitch is something that obviously you've never seen Newcastle do in however long that we've been against Mike Ashley, and I understand why they've done it now.
it sounds like momentum, like the you know.
Now
There's
looking
momentum
back,
behind it, but
I was annoyed. And I just thought, but in the sense of that is it's a big statement. It's a
yeah,
huge statement, and if everybody in them protests had have been peaceful, then it might not be so much of an
yeah,
issue. However, on the opposing side of that, I was watching it live, and Gary Neville and Jamie Carragher they were talking very passionately about the situation and about the fact that yes, they were like two or three of the people that came through were dickheads acting like knobheads. He was like, but the vast majority that I've seen, it was a very peaceful protest, and he was like, that's why I'm saying it now before the media's even got hold of it, before they print the headlines tomorrow. He's like, I was here, Gary was here. It was a peaceful protest. There was the act of a couple of individuals that was ridiculous, but so I don't. I mean, it's very tough. It's a massive statement to make to get that game called off. The amount of money that will be lost. However, is it somewhat naive to think that when it gets replayed, that same amount of money will still end up in the pockets of the people that they were trying to defer it from?
yeah. Well, I think a lot of it is trying to get a fine because of everything that's gone on recently. Like fines might go because I'm guessing the Premier League will have a sort of behaviour conduct
Yeah,
thing.
yeah.
Obviously, the Euro Super League will count as a big misbehaviour thing, and there'll be fines for that. But then on top of that, on top of the Super League, you've now caused fixture congestion issues. Yeah, I'm in the same boat where it's stupid that the actions of a few throwing flares
Yeah.
and you know smashing chairs and all that. But you could around that.
Throwing chairs, not throwing chairs, throwing
Uh,
flares and smashing chairs.
yeah, exactly. And it's almost ruined it for everyone else because everyone there was families there, there's kids there that
I mean, it's parents as well. I mean,
it,
one of
it,
them
it showed
launched a
that it was
flare.
such it wasn't just hooligans who were angry.
Yeah.
It was it was the kids. It was the mums, the sons, the dads.
Exactly. Yeah. And these weren't the people throwing flares, were they?
No.
And go on.
Yeah, it's one of them. It's like I understand why people went there and protesting. Obviously, it's making that statement. It's in the voices. No, it's educating not only United fans but other fans that maybe don't know enough about it because they'll see, oh shit, they're throwing flares at Old Trafford. You know? And they learn more about it and they understand it. It recruits more people into the.
Yeah, I mean, I was explaining to Justine, my girlfriend, what was going on and sort of why it was going on, and her, as somebody who isn't a football fan, was just like knobheads, you know what I mean, on about the owners of these clubs, and when I explained the Big Six and what they were doing, she was like, just as a person, you know what I mean, it's not the right thing. It was never the right thing to do, and that's why people like that, like mums and dads and families and grandparents, are turning up because it's the club that they've loved and they're ruining it. They're making it rot. That's what's happening. It's the same with Newcastle. We're rotting from within. When I grew up, I mean, 94, obviously I was born. Probably started properly following football around 99 when I was 5. And started watching it and stuff with my parents. So I remember very vividly a 2001 or 2002 season where Bobby Robson was in charge of Newcastle. We had Alan Shearer, we had Craig Bellamy, Solano, Kieran Dyer. In fact, I'm actually doing a save on Footy Manager with that database. And we finished in the Champions League that year. And then we were up there. We never really won much, but we were always up there. We were like what Leicester are now, sort of thing.
Yeah.
And to now go from that, even though we were better than that, we're probably more like what.
I'd say you were at the time.
Yeah, we were top 4. Chelsea didn't exist because they didn't have the money off Abramovich.
Arsenal,
yeah, Newcastle, yeah. But it was them 3, and then we were saying hello every now and again. And to go from that to what we are now, to have faced 2 relegations in my lifetime, all needlessly as well. And when I watched the games that got us relegated, the players, they weren't fucking arsed, and that all comes from the top. The way that Mike Ashley's ran our club as a money making scheme, when you get up the stats about how much money he's invested and how much money he's made since being there, it's criminal. It's literally criminal. He's told us that he had no money to invest in the club over the transfer window, and then the day that the transfer window ended, he bought House of Fraser for 100 million. And it's are you fucking having a laugh, mate? We're not going to say anything though because the transfer window's not open now. What? And the thing is though, what really winds me up, you get people like Rio Ferdinand on BT a couple of months back saying that if Newcastle fans are that arsed, then they should have a whip around and buy the club themselves. What? You know what I mean? I get, what are you on about, Rio? Rio's just got obviously a brand deal with Sports Direct, so someone else actually sell his merchandise. But it's and to see them people now defending the protest that Man United did, but when Newcastle did it, he was told people to grow up, and it's oh man, it's always been the same as well. Newcastle were subject to a takeover, and we're still going through a lawsuit because there's no reason that the Premier League could have denied it.
I was having to think about this. I was thinking that it just seems a bit suspicious because one of the big outspeakers against Newcastle being taken over is Daniel Levy, the top owner. And it's just curious to me now that Tottenham, I think everyone can agree that Tottenham were lucky to be in the conversation of a Super League.
Mate, yeah, they've not won
And
anything since 1954 or something. Like,
yeah, and it's you know, it's almost like if there's threatened, like Leicester are threatening the Big Six because they're doing better than Tottenham, doing better
yeah,
than Arsenal,
West Ham.
Liverpool. They're battling with Chelsea. It's only United and City that seem to be far gone
Yeah,
from. It's this case of fear that because the talks are obviously in place at that point that maybe the big clubs. I don't know if which clubs obviously, because obviously some clubs have rejected Newcastle's takeover.
yeah.
Is that because
It's a
ultimately?
competitive edge, mate. If we'd have been taken over by that chap from Saudi Arabia, his wealth like quadruples Man City's owners.
Oh, absolutely. And I'm incredibly fond of Newcastle. Like in the Premier League, like I don't like City, I don't like Liverpool, I don't like Arsenal. Chelsea can't stand Tottenham. They're a banter club.
Yeah, the
But
thing.
the likes of Newcastle, like the clubs that could be big, you just feel sorry for them, and it's like
Yeah,
you, you want a club that's built up from its fan base, that's it's got proper roots, unlike the likes of Man City, that it was nothing until the City group took it over.
yeah.
You
Well,
know, in a
what
shape.
sort of really winds me up now as well is that there's certain supporters out there that think that Newcastle fans expect too much because of past great, and it's like, nah, like we just don't want to be fighting relegation, mate. Like we
That's
just want people who look like they want to play for our
yeah,
club.
but
Like,
that's like saying Sunderland fans should be happy that they're in League One. It's like
oh,
no, because they were in the Premier League less than 10 years ago.
exactly, and
It's
it's
like
like it's not something I'm.
there's clearly a potential in the infrastructure that you've got
Yeah,
to go. Like obviously Carlisle, let's say, like I can't be like, oh, I fucking wish billionaire would take us over and take us to the
hey,
Premier
it
League.
happens, mate. Look at Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah, right,
That's
right.
class.
Yeah,
That is
yeah. I mean,
class, to be
I mean,
fair.
they're in top division years and years ago, but like I don't. There's expectations, but it's like Carlisle's infrastructure. Like players don't live near Carlisle.
Yeah,
They'll a bus, like if they've got a game in Portsmouth, there'll be a bus that stops in Manchester, stops in Stoke, and stop in just
yeah,
outside
mate.
London.
Even Barrow don't train in Barrow. They train in Manchester.
It's it's one of them where but the infrastructure's there. Infrastructure's there for Newcastle to go into the Champions League, and
And
we've
the
gone a bit
city.
off topic in the sense that in regards to the protests
But
and
yeah,
what we think.
in terms of the protests themselves, I think good on them for doing it. However, the acts of individuals, it's just it it can't be excused. However, you do know it's gonna happen.
I've got thoughts on it that I don't know if it's going to be controversial because I think the protests are a right thing in the sense that it's making a statement not necessarily to the Glazers but definitely to the wider public
Yeah.
to get an understanding. But Avram Glazer, Joel Glazer do not give a shit if
No.
10,000 fans have done that and they've knocked a couple of grand, and because they've taken 1.5 billion out of United since then. And they don't care if Ed from Kendall, if Joe from Manchester, if whoever, they don't care if they're upset because mate, they got 1.5 billion pounds from this investment that they made,
Yeah.
and that's just going to keep going up. And sure, they missed a match day and they'll probably get fined by the FA like a certain amount, but they'll get that money back anyway.
Yeah.
And
Because it'll get played
it's one
again.
in that way, I think the protest is fruitless, as horrible as it sounds, but the raising the awareness of it. But what I think United fans would have to do if they really want the change, which they obviously do, and Newcastle fans is, the only way you can battle these billionaires is because you can have the whole of Manchester marching on Old Trafford, and they wouldn't sell it. But if you do it through legislation, it's not. It's almost like you've got turn from
Yeah.
Manchester and go down to London.
Well, it
And
looks like this is
yeah,
happening now.
the 50+1 rule, which it looks like
Have you seen the
throws a bit
announcements
of morphine
today
into
from
it.
Chelsea?
I haven't actually, no.
So today Chelsea announced that as of next season they'll have someone on the board representing the fans, and they'll always have fans present in all the board
I think
meetings.
from what I gather, I think Petr Cech had a big thing to do with that. I think he heard about it.
Well, he was actually there, wasn't he, when
Yeah,
they were trying to stop the Chelsea team going to play West Ham, and it wasn't until Petr Cech actually came out and said, "Look,
I think
fuck off,
he.
we're gonna have to play." But whatever, he must have heard things, and they must have struck with him. And but yeah, it's a good thing. It's a very good thing. Can I see Mike Ashley doing that? Absolutely not. He
I think
needs to go. That's the thing. But Newcastle might be getting sold. We'll talk about that a lot probably.
the 50+1 rule. I like the sound of it, but I feel like it's one of those things that if it's not already set up, it's going to be hard to implement. And like money talks, and you can see that in the Premier League and trying to.
Also, how like is the Saudi prince going to still want to come and buy Newcastle if he only owns 49% of the club?
Yeah,
Like probably not. You know what I mean?
it's one of them ways. Like the only way that because as much as you are, you want to make a statement to these billionaires, like they just don't, like they're so far gone and you know removed from society that like they don't give a damn if it's been, they don't care if there's a 90-year-old man who's held a season ticket at Old Trafford for 50 odd years.
Yeah, you're right. They don't.
They
That's
don't
sad.
care because what they care about is the 1.5 billion, and the only way it gets changed is by a power that's bigger than them, and the only thing bigger than them, the Premier League couldn't do it. It is the British government.
Yeah, that's right. The thing is as well that is quite sad is it doesn't have to be that way in the modern game. Like you see, like the former Leicester owner who passed away.
Yeah,
He was an absolute,
oh,
and he did care about a 90-year-old man that had a Leicester season ticket for his whole life. Like he genuinely would care about that person, and that just shows that it doesn't need to be that way because Leicester are winning a Premier League. They're on the way to get in another Champions League. Like it is just greed, and the game is full of it. And hopefully this Super League is just a massive wake up call to all the officials all over the world, not just within football, to be like, let's give this sport back to the people. And to be honest, there is a small chance that through that quality and things may dip because money will probably be less. There'll be less money in the game probably, but people are still going to want to see it. You know what I mean? TV money is still going to be there. Sponsorship money is still going to be there. Look at the NBA; they have wage caps, don't they, on their athletes? But LeBron is still one of the most highly paid athletes in the world because Nike pay him, and you know what I mean. They'll say, right, we can pay you this much, but also in the contract, we're going to give you a deal with Nike. We're going to give you a deal with this, deal with that, and they'll get you that money. Like if they want you to come and play for them, they'll get you that money somehow. Whether it's through you've got to score 5 goals and we'll give you a £5 million bonus. You know what I mean? Like it's a sketchy business football at the minute, and that is sad when you think of like I think of like my grandparents, and I've got one granddad who is massively into football, huge Liverpool fan, still watches every single week. I've got one granddad who used to be into football, who isn't so much anymore, because of the way that the game is. And when this whole Super League started breaking off, I thought to myself, is this the start of me falling out of love with that game? And in 30 years' time, am I going to be my granddad saying, I used to love it, but I'm not watching this shite? You know what I mean?
I was on holiday with Paige, and like I said earlier on in the podcast, I've been, I followed United since I was 9, 10, 11, when, I didn't get into football as early as everyone else. And, I've got United shirts, I've got some scarves up here, I've got, I've got a mug, I've got memorabilia, and, it showed I'm a fan. I said to her, I was like, if they join the European Super League, like, I don't care if I've followed them for what is now, over half of my life. Like, that like because of the actions of not the club, because the club is the fans, the club is
Yeah.
the badge. It's not the owner, but because of the actions of the owner, I will not support Manchester United.
Yeah, of course.
Because if we join the European Super League, because because what I support more than Man United is football.
Of course,
And football isn't just playing Barcelona and Real Madrid every week. Football is the Crystal Palace against Burnley.
Cold Tuesday nights down at Stoke.
Yeah. It's down at Stoke. It's the waiting all seasons for those two big games of Man United against Liverpool. It's waiting for that because it's an event because it doesn't happen every day. But if it's happening every week, then it's not an event anymore. It's not the same.
It's Christmas every day. It's that whole thing, isn't it? It's
Yeah.
why would you want that? There's nothing to look forward to. Then you've not earned it either. Like, and do you know what really wound a lot of people up, like we touched on earlier, was like what gives Tottenham the right. You know what I mean? Like, all right, Man United, Liverpool, all right, they're huge super clubs, and they have been for more or less as long as the clubs have existed. Like, for a long, long time now, they've been dominating English football. And yes, they've had dips and peaks, but Tottenham, like, on what grounds can how do they qualify over Leicester bar money? Like, there's no justification. There's none. Like,
it's like if you're gonna go off pedigree, then why aren't Celtic in it? Because haven't Celtic got, or is it Celtic or Rangers have more European cups technically than Real Madrid? Ajax have a lot.
Ajax do. Nottingham Forest have two.
Nottingham Forest have more European cups than
Man City.
Man City don't have one.
Yeah, exactly. So I think the stat was that I saw was Nottingham Forest have more Champions Leagues than Arsenal, Spurs, and City combined, which is true because all of them have none. So it's fuck off. Like, I mean, City, fair enough. I mean, that's a nice segue, I guess.
I would agree with the idea more if it's based on form and there's the ability to be relegated if you're like, because what's the point in having the same thing every week? And like, you could then, let's say, so you start it up and these teams are removed from the Premier League.
Yeah.
You go for it, and I'm going to use Tottenham as an example because they're sort of the ones that are being scapegoated on it all.
Well, they deservedly so.
Absolutely.
That's the thing.
But you could then say, like, after 3 seasons, you could drop them back into the Premier League.
After one.
And Tottenham could end up being, like, 15th in the Premier League.
Yeah.
And because all these other teams have improved, and, like, the point is Tottenham are no longer a bigger club than Crystal Palace, let's say Crystal Palace jumped up to second or something, like, but Crystal Palace would never been given that opportunity to become one of the big boys because they didn't have the money.
Yeah, exactly.
My only other question on it is, there's been a lot of talk from, is it Florentino Perez, the owner of Real Madrid, saying that he can't leave. Do you think that's going to be the case?
No, I think they'll leave. I think Perez is off his head.
He did say Ronaldo would never leave.
Yeah, Perez is absolutely living in cuckoo land. After it all came about and then they all pulled out, Perez came out and instead of pulling out and doing the right thing and just folding it and saying we got it wrong, he said it's on hold. You know what I mean? Like, get your head out of your ass. We're not going to change our mind on this. You know what I mean?
So money focused,
which is one thing, going back quickly to the Man United thing, which is a very important point that I think Carragher made when he was talking about it, is that a lot of people across the UK have now started pointing fingers at United fans. And I don't think that's what we need to do in this situation. I think, like we did when the Super League got announced, we need to unite as a football community, and because it's not just the Glazers, is it? Like, Arsenal fans want Kroenke out, Newcastle fans want Ashley out.
They've disrupted someone Sunday.
Liverpool did it outside the ground. They did the RIP Liverpool sign. They were going to take the banners down inside the stadium. Chelsea were trying to stop West Ham match until Czech came out and stopped them. United fans succeeded is the only difference in realistically what's gone
And
on.
I
So
think
I don't
a lot,
want people to start like doing this whole division between what club you support, because this isn't a time for that. We do that when they play on the pitch. Like, we need to just unite as a footballing community and be like, people like the Glazers need to not be anywhere near a fucking football club. And that's like, go make your money, mate. Go into crypto. There's plenty of money to be made in crypto. You know what I mean?
a lot
Stay
of
clear of football. Stay clear of
I
Pokemon.
think a lot of a lot of people I think turned on United fans because it's as simple as they were all settled in now, thinking, yeah, Man United, Liverpool,
Yeah.
and they
Oh
got
yeah,
points
yeah.
on.
It was very. It was on a
No,
bank holiday, wasn't it?
yeah, I was sat down ready to watch it, and I was a bit annoyed that it wasn't because at the end of the day, I wanted to watch football. That's why I sat down. But like, sometimes you just got to lump it and realize that there's a bigger meaning behind it.
Exactly
It's
that,
like
mate.
I wasn't out there protesting, but like I support the idea, and especially more because of the coverage that I got because I understood it more. It's like
Yeah.
when you if you take in the Glazers situation and you put it on, I said Crystal Palace earlier, let's say, or Leicester, because they've got good owners, and you put the Glazers and they own Leicester, and the exact same thing, they'd taken X amount of money out of the club, and they hadn't supported the club in the way that they should of a club of Manchester United's caliber, or let's say in their case, Leicester hadn't been supported in the way to the extent of what their caliber
Yeah.
is what I'm trying to say, and so let's say they weren't given the resources that I wish I could say his name, but he gave him resources to go ahead and win the Premier League. He did. I guarantee
Yeah.
you, getting Claudio Ranieri to manage Leicester wasn't cheap, but he did it,
Yeah.
and
Yeah. It's
he's
true.
paid dividends, and it's
Nigel Pearson is a lot to thank for that as well. But we'll go into that in a different. We'll talk about that in
yeah,
a different podcast.
and it's one of them where it's like you just got to put yourself in the other situation. Like I know people who just like they slag off lower league football team fans. They slag off Newcastle like they're like, oh, at least you've got a billionaire owner. And it's like, no,
Oh,
but if you put yourself in that position,
yeah.
where
It's all
it's
relative, isn't it? It's all
it's a
relative.
potential like Man United's potential is to be the biggest club in world football, and we were and we dropped
Still,
because
in a way that you are, like, and you always will
in
be.
not in sales, not in even
But yeah,
financially. Like they say
in terms of
it's a
trophies, yeah,
fantastic
recently it hasn't been the same.
financial job. Like the last time we won a trophy was the Europa League with Jose Mourinho, and even then he said that's his greatest achievement. And at the time I was like, oh, piss off, Mourinho. I look back on that now. I'm like, I
Yeah.
look at the squad, the investment in that squad. It's not necessarily the money they were given because they were given money. They bought Pogba, they got Ibrahimovic, they got Maguire. These big name signings, but
Yeah.
it's the infrastructure and the likes of Ed Woodward, who thankfully is leaving. He's sort of like the first of the two that were like that we're wanting rid of. But like the infrastructure wasn't there. Like we don't like every football club, modern football club has a director of football, and we've only just appointed one
Yeah, that's mental.
this season. And other clubs and the Man City were one of the first to have that structure. That's why Man City. I know they're obviously their owners,
If they got
but
Mino Raiola in it.
they've had their infrastructure so much better, and that's the issue Man United fans have. Not only it's not necessarily the money being taken out or anything, but it's the money's not being used properly. It's like
Yeah.
it's purchases that Ed Woodward wanted as opposed to what Louis van Gaal wanted. I remember David Moyes was at the club. He asked for a couple of players. I think the players he wanted was Gareth Bale, which was a feasible signing at the time. Man United had just won the Premier
Yeah,
League,
I remember.
and
Yeah.
Gareth Bale was a complete option. You know what he got given instead? He got given Marwan Fellaini.
I know. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. It's
it's
been rough for United. Like, and even
it,
as someone
it,
who doesn't
like I
like.
said, I understand. I understand. Sorry,
No,
it's
no
like
problem.
I understand that relative to Carlisle, I'll go back to them. Carlisle, relative to them, like we're in Europe, we're fighting for Europa League trophy. We're second in the Premier League. Relatively, like Carlisle would love to be in that position, but it's a potential of each club. The potential of Man United is to win the Premier League, win the Champions League, win the FA Cup, the Carabao Cup. Be the biggest club financially in the world. Big marquee signings every season.
Yeah.
Based on not necessarily financial, but also on merit, because they have that merit and they've got the potential to continue that.
Or
You
bring
know,
or bring them through. That's the thing that Man United
that's
did.
why, that's why Newcastle fans are mad at Mike Ashley because the potential of the club we've seen it. They were so close to winning the Premier League. The
Twice.
Champions League qualification. Like, they've got potential to be a club that's way bigger than Arsenal are at the moment. But
Yeah.
because of Mike Ashley, instead they're in the Championship every couple of seasons.
Struggling. But I mean, this is the thing. We've struggling. 3 weeks ago or so, 4 weeks ago, we were in a nasty relegation battle. Over the past 3 or 4 weeks, we've pulled out some very, very good results, like a win against Liverpool. It was draw against Liverpool, and winning games that realistically maybe we shouldn't have won. And it's pulled us out, and now we're 9 points clear of Fulham with about 4 games to go. We're a lot safer, but that I'm not happy about that. Like, you know what I mean? Like, of course, I'm happy that we're escaped.
That conversation shouldn't have even been had.
Exactly. We should never ever have been there, because about 6 weeks prior to that situation of us being in relegation, we were sat in like 12th, not even looking, and then we went on, I think it was like a 10-game streak where we didn't win a game. And it's like, no, how is Steve Bruce still in charge? Like, yes, okay, he might have rescued us out a little bit now, but that's not him.
In that situation in the first place.
Yeah, that's those players, and we got a new first team coach. I don't give Steve Bruce the thanks for us turning it around. Like, yeah, of course he's in the conversation, but the way that, like you said, the way that we expect things.
All that Steve Bruce has done there is he's dug you a massive hole, and he's filled in most of it after doing that.
And all we expect as well as fans, and United have always been the same. You don't have to be the most technically gifted player in the world. Work hard. Look like you want to play for that club, and we will respect you. The fans will sing your name. Like, we have Matt Ritchie is a prime one. Over the past 3 or 4 years for us, he's not a technically gifted player, but he's popped up every now and again in the crucial moments, and he runs like I don't know what. Like, he just tries hard for the shirt he's wearing, and that's all I want.
That's why Man United fans love Scott McTominay, because Scott McTominay. If you gave me like a comprehensive list of the best Premier League midfielders at the moment, Scott McTominay wouldn't, even though he starts for Manchester United second in the Premier League, Scott McTominay would not make it in the top 20 in most people's lists. But Scott McTominay starts every week because he'll give a 7 out of 10 performance at least every game. And Ryan Giggs is a very similar one. Ryan Giggs, like, if you gave me a comprehensive list of wingers of all time, Ryan Giggs, I guess, in time, the nostalgia's maybe, and the appearances and what have you. But you look at Ryan Giggs, like, I think there wasn't many seasons where he registered more than 10 or 10 goals.
It's consistency, mate.
But it's consistent. It's consistently putting in a 7 out of 10 performance. And the reason that United fell flat is because the likes of Roy Keane, who's a great example of that again. Instead we in midfield we had Andreas Pereira, or Pogba, who at the time he's playing great now, and you do need the players that have that flair, obviously. The star players, but you do need the ones that are grounded. And under Mourinho and Van Gaal, you just did not have that. You had a bunch of players who looked all right, but there was no mentality behind it. And that was, I'll tell you what, I was really worried when we lost Ander Herrera, because he was one of the few players who were playing for the badge. I saw we lost Ander Herrera. I was Christ.
I don't like him. Make that clear. He seems like a knobhead to play against, but he worked for. He was a servant for United. He really was.
But Roy Keane was the exact same. No, loads of people didn't like Roy Keane because he's absolute shithouse. Ander Herrera's a shithouse. Scott McTominay is a massive. To Liverpool fans and City fans are bloody, because he pops up in those big games and he shithouses his way through it. He'll go down, any challenge. He'll double foot someone to stop. Like, he's the kind of bloke who would handball to stop a goal, and then get sent off. A bit like Ole Gunnar Solskjaer did when he double footed someone years ago, to stop them going in on goal. Like, it's playing for the badge.
Yeah.
And no matter how much money your club's got, it's not going to happen. I do feel like I went off on a bit of a tangent there.
No, that's all right.
It's maybe a bit far removed.
No, don't worry. The one thing, though, that we did mention, obviously, regarding Champions Leagues, we said that City, Arsenal and Spurs haven't won one, but that could be false within a couple of weeks.
Absolutely.
Well, no, a
Yeah.
couple of weeks. It'll be a while off now. So at time of recording, Chelsea and Real Madrid are playing in an hour and 50 minutes,
Yeah.
and City played PSG last night and won, and they are in the Champions League final. How do you
If you
feel
were to,
about that as a United fan? Well, semi United fan.
it's kind of them. It's one of them. It's like weirdly out of like I don't want Real Madrid to win the Premier League. I mean the Champions League. Sorry,
No,
for obvious reasons. Everything that they've done recently, they win it too often. You know, as a fan, you want
yeah,
to. As a football fan,
I
you
don't
want
like
to.
Madrid.
But then you look at the other three teams as Paris Saint-Germain,
Don't
Chelsea, and
like them.
Manchester. Obviously, the bottom of my list is Manchester City. But then I'm like, actually, out of the three that are remaining, Chelsea, Real Madrid, and Man City, I think I'd actually back Chelsea. I'd like to see win. One, because it's someone different. Two, because it's not Man City. But at the same time, I wouldn't say I would have been chuffed if Paris won it either, because they have a very similar mentality to Man City.
What I
In the
want
sense,
is City to win it because of Pep. I feel like he deserves another Champions League in a different country, and for the sake of his legacy. If I feel like I don't like Tuchel. I don't know what it is about him.
I don't.
I don't know what it is. He just seems like he looks like a Bond villain. Like I just don't think he's a nice person. Like and I don't like that Chelsea always do this thing where they swap manager halfway through the season and then they go on and win the Champions League. Like it's happened before. It's the proper Chelsea formula. And
it's a different debate entirely. I think it's one of them. It's like which is the shiniest of all the turds, isn't it?
yeah, I think like I say, and also the like Foden. I think it would be good for him to win it, and which will then in turn be good for the national
I think
team.
if I was going to go for on that front, if it's going to give players a boost for the Euros, I'd like to see
Like John Stones, Raheem Sterling, Phil Foden.
yeah,
Like there's a good contingency of English players now in that team. Kyle Walker played absolutely brilliantly last night. I would just say, by the way, they were fantastic last night.
My apologies there. My dad was informing me that there is a pig in blanket downstairs if I would like to have it.
He wouldn't, we'll wrap it up shortly anyway because we've been going for a couple of hours now.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just want to say, as a football fan, last night the display from Man City was absolutely unbelievable.
I didn't watch it, but defensively, I've heard it was
defensively,
one of the best.
just on the attack, counter attack, whatever you want. Like Fernandinho, man, he was 36 yesterday. He was 36 on the day, and he just kept Neymar in his pocket. He went the full game without getting a yellow card, but he must have committed about 7 fouls. Like it was just little ones, you know what I mean? Just to break down, just to break PSG down. It was great to watch. It really was.
To be fair to City, like I can't see it as a United fan and just outright deny the quality. It's impressive that they're doing it without an out striker as well. Like a lot of the goals do come from midfield or from the wing. It's like the fully prepped for life without Aguero, which at the start of the season you saw, they're like.
KDB sort of plays that role, doesn't he? De Bruyne sort of plays that Messi. When Pep was at Barca, they played this kind of formation without a striker, where Messi just played in this centre forward role that wasn't really a striker. It was like a false nine, wasn't it? And he had wingers either side, and it's just when you've got that kind of player like Messi or like De Bruyne who can play in that position well, it's so hard to play against.
Yeah, I think Mahrez, Foden, and Bernardo Silva have been instrumental. If you'd ask, weirdly, if I was going to pick a City player to have at United, I think Bernardo Silva would definitely be up there.
Yeah.
I mean, now you've maybe changed my mind and say Foden,
that's the thing. It's the English side of it for me. But I also think on the complete contrast to what I just said, and I think Pep is fantastic. Like he genuinely he interests me so much the way that his philosophies about football and stuff. But it's not a coincidence that look at the size of City's squad, mate. Their bench every.
I saw a stat and it was Man City benched 7 of their players, was it?
Yeah.
Against Newcastle they were playing.
Yeah.
They played Newcastle, and Newcastle weren't up for the game at all. But they're the only team that could afford to bench 7 of their players
And still win.
against Newcastle, and not only win so comprehensively, but it's like the squad value of a team that's 7 players have been benched. It was something like 260 million or something like that. And it's
Exactly.
Man United squad just doesn't compare.
Exactly. So the Man United squad.
They got good squads,
But then you look at Newcastle, man. Like, one of their players is probably worth the same amount as our starting 11. It's that ridiculous. Like, it's genuinely that ridiculous. So it baffles me. It does baffle me. And like I say, as much as I think that Pep is one of the greatest top 2 managers of all time.
That's why he's there. They could afford to get him.
Exactly, but I want to see him do it. I want to see him do like what Mourinho did when he was at Porto, what United did when he was at, what Sir Alex did when he was at United. Like, create a legacy and build something from the bottom. Like, it was all there at City before he got there. Realistically, like, I want to see him like join someone like Newcastle and be like, right, I can still make, because what Pep needs for the way that he plays football is the best players in the world, because it's such a hard brand of football to play, but it's also so simple, which is that's the beauty of it. Like, Johan Cruyff once said that playing football is simple, but playing simple football is the hardest thing in the world, and it's so true. Like, it's just the concentration of the players. Like, nobody, especially like I've been a manager down in like amateur, and you try and ask players to play a simple brand of football and pass and move and that, and it's easy to say it. Number one, you've got the pitches to take into consideration, because like I'm not playing on carpets like you do at the Etihad and Anfield. Like, these pitches have bobbles in them, so playing the ball on the deck is an issue. And they've been at work all week. They don't want to play a simple ball. They want to fucking try and take 3 people on and whip it in. You know what I mean? And like, I at this point, I can't be like, I'm paying you fucking 200 grand a week, mate. Do what I tell you. Like, you're paying the club actually, mate. So you do what you like, you know what I mean? It's what it is.
You want a rainbow flick that bloke and mess it up for the 4th time this game, mate.
Yeah, you crack on.
Whatever keeps you sleeping at night.
Yeah, that's it, mate. That's it. But like I said, I'm excited, and I'm excited for the match actually, which I guess we'll talk about next week once we know who's qualified. The final will be down in July or something, won't it? Always is.
Yeah, I think it'll be June, because they'll do it before the Euros. Yeah, because the Euro starts mid-June, so it's just over a month away.
Oh, we'll have that to talk about as well. The England lineup.
We got the Euros, Man United Europa League, but it's a given that they're in the final, provided a catastrophe doesn't happen in Rome on Thursday.
Yeah.
But apart from that, I think that's about us.
Yeah, I reckon so. So I hope you've liked the first episode, everyone.
It's been a bit long. It's been a bit ranty. If you have a look at my notes on my phone, we didn't go down the structure we were meant to, but at the end of the day,
honestly, mate, we sort of went through all the questions that I was going to ask you without me asking you them. I've got pretty much. I actually have. But yeah. So we will. Hopefully, we're going to try and get this out on Sunday, aren't we?
Sunday. So we're trying to go for Sunday 5 p.m. Clips are going to be uploaded through the week. If you've got any suggestions for like the choose one lose one, if you've got any comments, or if you are having, if you want to get involved, well, we've got the comments. Make sure you subscribe, like.
We are on Instagram as well. We'll put all the links in the description down below.
Yeah, I think another thing I want to put in the links actually is touching on the mental health thing. It's something we're going to touch on a lot, and I think people use podcasts sometimes as a type of conversation. There's going to be links to charities, organisations which can support you if you do feel like you need some help. I think that's definitely something I want to do. Yeah,
and if you ever need a Chinwag, guys, feel free to drop us a message on Instagram. Obviously, we are 2 people who are got 2 jobs, but we're always up for a chat if that's the case. Never be afraid to reach out to people is what I'm trying to say, even if it's us, because like we've spoke about and touched on briefly.
We will read messages.
Like we've touched on briefly that me and Ed actually suffered with mental health issues at certain points. Very similar, which was quite strange. I didn't realise how similar when it all started was like at university and stuff, which is quite odd. But there you go.
I mean, especially with lockdown and everything, I think a lot of people have they've had their everyone's had the moment. I saw a stat on television earlier. Women under 30, saying 46% of them reported symptoms of depression. I think men under 30, it was saying 29%. This is 29% more.
Yeah.
29% more. It might have been of the. So 29% of the people that they asked, but it's definitely a rising issue. But like I said, links will be in the description for anything. If you've got any suggestions for people you might know for guests, drop them.
Yeah, or if you're a guest yourself, if you think you've got a story to tell, guys, like I said, we're going to have a range of people, whether it be someone who's got a link within whatever, like we say, professional football, professional music, whatever it be, or if it's just a real life story, if something's happened to you, or if you've got something that you feel like other people can learn or benefit from, then yeah, give us a message, give us an email. Well, like I say, it'll all be down below. And
anything, feedback, guess, comments,
literally anything.
Just come have a Chinwag.
Yeah, right, that's us. All right, so see you later. Where's this stop button? Wait, Crystal is still alive. Right, that's us. That's it. Bye-bye.